You s- Do you see what time it is? 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That means it's time for the city. Before we can welcome everybody to the city, let's take a moment to allow all of our listeners and viewers to formally join the club. All right, everybody. You know what time it is. Welcome to the City of Impact. We're here coming to you, episode 13, live from the studio. Uh, Maverick is currently not here. Still waiting for him. He's got stuff going on. He's going to be a little bit. In the meantime, I get the opportunity to talk with y'all. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Let me know. Make sure our audio is good. I see Jody Kidd, Nick Kaikan. Shout out to Mark Bennon. Got VIP in the house. Make sure y'all smash the like button, whether watching this live or watching the replay to this podcast interview, whatever the hell you want to call it. Is my mic good? Can y'all hear me good? If my microphone is good and y'all can hear me, then we should be able to boogie real soon. All right, I got Jody Kidd telling me that I'm good, or at least he can hear me. So we're waiting for the Maverick to get here. I don't know how long it's going to be. I got questions for this man, things that I want to talk to him about. And we're also going to not just talk wrestling. Y'all got Saturday night's main event going on today. So big shout out to y'all that are still following that product and watching. I couldn't do it anymore. And we'll also give some updates, some information, some details about JTV, what to expect, what's coming up, and stuff like that. Um, so we got some time here to talk. So just bear with me as we get everything up and running. Um, Usually get on here. I usually like having at least an hour if I can to start getting ready. It's always hectic because that hour when you're about to get ready, it just goes by so quick, and then you're left to figure everything out. But I mean, I've been on the air for a long time and many times without a script and had done pretty damn good. So I'm pretty sure I'll be all right. Luckily, this time I have a script, but I have a lot of things I feel that I need to cover. So uh, I got VIP here. Oh, by the way, best comments get highlighted. So that's that. If you guys got comments I think should be up, we'll put them up. Like this one here. VIP is referencing the new Lilo and Stitch movie. Looks pretty good. I think that it's going to do well, even in this generation. So it should be fun. Um, Still waiting on Maverick to pull up. we can get into some other stuff. Let's see here. Um, Let me go ahead and mention Retro Slam real quick.
You've only got 55 seconds to get in here.
Yeah. I'm coming already.
If you don't get back in here,
I heard you the first time.
we're starting without you.
Just open the back door.
Why are you always late?
45 seconds is plenty of time. Hey, what up? I'm coming.
Every day the same thing.
Look out, coming through.
We've got a show to do here.
It's gonna be close.
Are you ready?
From the mouth of the South, since he was in school, we watched wrestling before it was cool. Who would ever think that he'd live out his dream and wind up on the cover of a wrestling magazine? Hogan is American made. The only real giant is still Andre. Jerry Lawler will always be the king, 'cause we are the legends of wrestling. Roddy Piper, Bret the Hitman Hart, Bruno Sammartino, they were legends from the start. Mr. Fuji, Bobby Heenan, they call him the brain. Even Captain Lou, they will always be our friend. Hogan is American made. The only real giant is still Andre. Jerry Lawler will always be the king, 'cause we are the legends of wrestling. Where have all our heroes gone? In our hearts they still live on. The legends of wrestling. Hogan is American made. The only real giant is still Andre. Jerry Lawler will always be the king, 'cause we are the legends of wrestling.
Hey man, you already know the deal. Always a dope intro. Intros is always dope. From my understanding, Maverick is backstage in the studio getting ready to come out here. We're gonna have a conversation with them. Um, Retro Slam episode 7 is gonna be going live for the first time ever. It's gonna be going Retromania live. I think that's gonna be dope. It's gonna be a new experience for Retro Slam and for JTV. Looking forward to it as well as Next Gen. Next Gen episode 43 will be live from Phoenix, Arizona. These are the next two JTV shows. Once we're able to get back up and running, we've been having technical issues for quite some time. We haven't been able to get back. We're towards the end of it with June approaching and potentially getting a lot of stuff done and getting a lot of content out that I think you guys are going to enjoy. A lot of interesting things are going to be happening, and I'll see if I can get into some more of that here as we continue. Like I said, we have quite a few things to cover. We're looking forward to your comments. We're looking forward to talking to Maverick, and we're definitely looking forward to giving you guys as much information as we can. And I appreciate everybody in the comments showing love and just showing their passion for different things. I'm seeing Power Rangers, and Nick says he's all right. He's a little tired today. He saw the he said he saw Sonic in the intro. Respect. I mean, Retro Slam is built on nostalgia. That's what makes that show so good. So that's the reason I played the clip. I wanted to go into a little bit of that. But I think Maverick is here, so let's see what's going on with Maverick. So at this time, we'd like to welcome to the show Maverick.
Yes, it is I, Maverick.
Welcome back to the show, Killer. How's it
Yeah,
going?
glad to be here. It's going good, very good. Glad to be here. Glad to be a part of this. Once again, being able to actually finish up what we started.
Well, respect is important in this promotion. You know what I mean, Maverick, and hard work does pay off here. This is not about favorites. This is about hard work. This is about putting in time. This is about doing your part and getting involved, man. You know, you've been getting involved. You've been doing your thing. You have proclaimed outside, off air, and on air last time on episode 10 when you came to visit us that you made it well understood that you definitely plan not just to come after Shendon, but definitely to come after the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think this is the year to do it. You know, I think that this year, you know, Shendon has been on top for years. I think it's going on 3 years that he's been on top and he's been the World Heavyweight Champion. He's had BKS supplying, supporting, and protecting his nest of eggs for the longest time. And definitely his intention is to bring as many people as he can into BKS, you know. But I mean, empires fall, you know that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And a lot of people, and I'm one of them, are starting to believe that this is the year that that empire falls. And I think that a lot of people are really hungry in their locker room, and they definitely want a piece of this dude, and they definitely want to change things. And if you want to bring real change to JTV wrestling, you got to get that world heavyweight title. And I get that, you know, and I think a lot of people see that. Um, I definitely want to put that up front, you know, because that's one of the most important goals that you have going on this year of what we talked about. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing
Mhm.
that pressure that you plan to bring, not just with the freak show, but also with uh, the potential of possibly taking the heavyweight title from Shendon. Now, the thing is, once again, like I said, this year just feels like when you go to a local movie theaters or you go somewhere where there's social gathering, maybe I don't know, a tour world, a fun world, whatever the hell you want to call it, and it just so happened to have a grab machine. For those of you that have never seen it, I mean, the grab machine is the old machine where you have all the stuff, teddy bears and the cubs and the lions. Maybe you have a little Sonic, a little Pikachu. Then you go and grab the plate, you keep the grip around, and then you grab down on it, and then you drop it down the hole, and it's yours. I feel like this year, more than ever, it feels like Shendon's world heavyweight title is just it's an easy grab. You know, before it was difficult. It was like you put quarters in, quarters in, quarters in, and it's like you can't get it. It's like they rigged the machine for Shendon to win. And I think that this year and this season of JTV, it's not arguably going to be so rigged. I think that this year there's going to be potential. Um, there's a lot of people that have felt that should have been protected for quite some time. Um, and that may be the case. This season, things is going to go a little different. You know, this season is going to be very competitive for a lot of people, and it's going to be interesting to bring in the dynamic of mixed matches or mixed gender matches, I should say. So gives the opportunity for some of the women in JTV to challenge for Shendon's world heavyweight title and a total title, a hardcore title, you know, a guys tag team title. Like it's free fall all over the place. So I think that we're living in a very exciting time in JTV wrestling. If you want to add something to that, microphone's in your hand, Maverick, because I know you do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course I do. I would say that I feel the exact same way, 100%. I have told you, over and over and over again, I have told, numerous people within JTV, um, that I feel like, this is the year that it finally happens. Not even just not even just Shinden losing the title. And I know that we can say that a lot, right? Like, we can say a lot that Shinden is going to lose, but everyone questions who's it going to be, who's going to be the one to do it, who's going to be the one to beat him, and that's the hard thing, is to find out who's going to do that, who's going to be the one to take that title. And I told you, and everyone else in JTV, the last time that I was on here, the thing that I had to say is Ultimate Showdown. I feel it. I feel like this is the year that it finally happens. Not only where he loses the title, but I feel like this is the year that I finally put that side of my story to rest. Um, and I feel like this is the year that I finally slay that beast that has been going towards me, and that I have been trying to defeat all this time. We had some crazy matches in Next Gen, and we obviously see that. I've been kind of messing with him on Mega Rush, even so that story is not over, but I'm trying to end it because it's time for me to go to the next chapter. But I feel like Maverick's story cannot end until he finishes the story with Shinden. But to me, I personally feel that that story ends at Ultimate Showdown. And here's why. Shinden and I both came in at pretty much the exact same time, and we had, again, crazy matches, and I feel like all this build up that I've had, from going to a lower end side of the freak show to then having the freak show put into my hands. I feel like, again, this is the time that it's been building to. This is my moment. You know, I went back and watched the Night of Rebels match, and I went back and watched the Chemical Warfare match, and I still say to this day, and one of my favorite matches that I've had in JTV was the Night of Rebels match against Shinden. Um, and I still remember when I hit him with the spear, and he went down, and he was on one knee, and I remember you saying, and then SYM, who of course was there as well. I remember hearing you guys say, "We've never seen him be put down on one knee. We've never seen this before."
I remember that. Yeah.
And I sat there and I said, "From here to now, from here to now, there's been growth. There's been training. There's been strengthening, and I just feel like, yes, this is the year that Shinden loses, but this is the year that Maverick shuts up all the haters. This is the year that Maverick grows, and he continues improving, and he continues going. And I feel like this is the year that Maverick finally becomes that main eventer that I've been telling you that I am, that I've been telling JTV that I am, that I've been telling Shinden that I am. And I think this is the year that it finally happens, that I shut everyone up and I show, hey, look, this is where I belong, and this is where I'm going to stay. And
No, to be
so,
fair
yeah.
to you, I've always looked at you as that main eventer, even when you was a next gen. My thing was just you needed to take your throne like you have now. Now you're taking your throne. Now is when you're stepping up. You're letting it understood. You're willing to do the work. You're involved. You're letting it known that you're there and that you're a threat. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be overlooked. You know what I mean? So I'm all for it. Like I told you all fair, I tell you on there, I'm looking forward to working with you. I would like to help you tell this story. Um, I like people that step up. I like people that not just talk about it, they are about it, and you've been putting together an excellent body of work the last several years of your JTV career. It's not just that you brought Shannon down to one knee at that time when y'all went at it. You also had beat his ass with the steel chair when you popped up on him that one time on Next Gen and brought him down to one knee. So you've done this multiple times. You're an expert at making him bend the knee. You know what I mean? So, but along with that, there's a lot of different things you've been doing that I like the match you had with Colin at Pumpkin Night. I think it was Pumpkin Night 23 or
Mm.
24. I could be wrong. Excellent match. You know what I mean? There's a few debacles because the arena had its wear and tear. We were working with a unique arena. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you still went in there and y'all was able to put together what I thought was an excellent television match. Um, that absolutely could have been for the title, you know. So, and eventually he wound up joining you, which is interesting. So I think that along with Jocelyn, I think Colin has respect for you if he was
Mm.
willing to join you after he was able to get the win. Yeah, I mean, and that was a roll up. You know, what I mean, he had to roll you up. It wasn't like a honest pin. He had to just pull a quick one out the hat. You know, so I'll leave it at that, and you can add some more if you want to add some more. But I definitely got stuff to talk to you about, and it looks like there's definitely some questions that we have here on the side. This is indeed Act Two of the City of Impact with Maverick. Shout out to Chris Conscience. Uh, before we lose any of these, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you answer shit as we go. So Chris Conscience says, if you wanted your own choice, what would be your dream matches? I don't know if we answered this in the first one, but maybe we can clarify it this time more calmly, without any storm, breaking this whole podcast apart. So
Sure.
if you had to recap, what do you got?
So we actually didn't answer this one. I don't think we might have, but I don't really
Well,
think
just
we
in
did.
case. Just in case.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest ones, and it's not just because that, I'm not trying to be that person, but one of them would be against Kevin Impact again. Obviously we fought in Japan, but we didn't get to finish that match, and it made me very upset. Um, and you always said that we would go again, and you never showed up. So you actually retired. So that's on you. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel like any match that I have, and I say this a lot, and I've already talked about this. Personally, I feel like any match against Shinden,
Mm,
um, I feel like any match that I have against Shinden is always a barn burner. I feel like it's always good. I feel like it's always one of those that you know, it's one of those that you see it and it has always been good. I'd
mm,
love to fight Mark Bannon again.
mm.
That that little redneck boy there, like to fight him again. Just kidding, Mark.
We're
One
definitely
other
getting
one,
canceled.
one other one that you and I have talked about. VIP.
Mm,
Um, that would be a match that I would definitely like to have down the road sometime. Um, so yeah, just to name a
mm.
few.
I mean, those, and I wouldn't rule out the possibilities of you and I tying up again, but I mean, I think those are achievable. I think those are matches that could possibly happen. We was in a conversation last night in the chat, and it popped in my head the idea and possibilities of you having a war with no kills, elephant in the room.
Mm,
I think a lot of people probably has overlooked this guy because they don't know him like that. At least this era of JTV does not know no kills, and it's a reoccurring thing. That this era of wrestlers, fans just don't look into the past. You know what I mean? There's been people in JTV, up and comers, that have attempted to be students of the game. They've done their research. They want to know who's who, what they're about. You know what I mean? And Shannon is one of those guys, and that's the reason he was able to reach success and to attain that brass ring momentarily. You definitely have to be involved, and you cannot overlook anyone on this roster because if they're on this roster, they're here for a reason. They
Hmm.
have potential to be someone, and that's how I've always seen you from day one that you walked in, you know, and you made your debut in Next Gen. I thought of the possibilities of what can happen with you because I saw your integrity. And as
Mm.
time went on, I wasn't able to at first get that opportunity, but it didn't matter because you still came back. And when you came back, anything that happened before that is obsolete.
Mm.
Donnie, uh, all Natural Guru, all those guys back in the day, whatever went on in the 2016 Next Gen, it didn't matter anymore. What matters is that by about 18 or 19, you was back, and ever since you've been back, you uh, have taken steps to made it well understood that you're building a legacy. And Jocelyn was someone else that forced me to pay attention to her because of her effort to try to get my attention and get everybody else's attention. And the way that I work and the way things work here in JTV, we're not here to hold talent back. We're here to
Mm.
work with anyone who wants to rise to the top. You're here coming on the show talking. You're ready to come back for the new season, ready to do your thing. You're doing your part. You're making the effort, and that it's going to pay, not only pay off, but it's in the end, that's what's going to matter when you look back. I was looking at a video yesterday I've never seen before, and I'll keep it short. It was about Stone Cold Steve Austin, and um, it was a video documenting his time on the road. He had about two daughters. He was married. The marriage went to shit. He was not father of the year or whatnot, and he dedicated, almost sold his soul to the game to be able to be this iconic figure that he is today. And speaking of selling your soul, it brings me to this right here. So, Moonlight Pro. And for those that don't know, what is this Moonlight Pro? And definitely go subscribe to him, MPW. That's my second place of work right there. uh, it's operated by the so-called spokesman of the old Skull Brotherhood, Burke Lawson. He goes by different names, but I mean, I know the org definitely knows him as Burke Lawson. You know, and of course, when I'm referencing the org, I'm talking about the Skull Brotherhood. It looks like the Skull Brotherhood has a question of their own. Will Maverick work with the Court of Owls and JTV? It looks like they're watching you and they might have interest in you. What message might you have and response might you have to the Skull Brotherhood?
So here's what I will say to that. Um, Obviously, I've got my hands full with the freak show. Obviously, but that doesn't mean that freak show and Skull Brotherhood might not be able to work together and help each other out. Now, here's what I have to say as far as that goes. If we have the same common enemy, sure.
Hmm.
But the moment that you step up and try to take out the freak show, that's when things will get in the way. So if your same enemy is my enemy, then we'll be all good. But as far as maybe taking away from the freak show and going there, I don't see that happening now, if ever.
But here's the thing, though, Maverick. Here's the interesting thing about this. Ever since the Skull Brotherhood's been back, not a word. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Not a single word. All the Skull Brotherhood has been doing is just dwelling in the shadows and watching everything and watching everyone. Same as Conscience Third Eye. And it's kind of weird with Conscience because it almost seems like he has premonitions and and he's able to predict things as they go. But I mean, with the Skull Brotherhood, this is not a regular faction in JTV. You've had a few idiots in the past who have had remarks or opinions about the Skull Brotherhood, but the Skull Brotherhood is not a JTV faction. That is more of a secret society working within the confines of JTV, working in rooms that you never see in JTV. And I'm not talking about the P Diddy rooms. I'm saying that BKS is a faction. They bleed. They're beatable. Iron Misfits, same thing. Direct Deposit, same thing. Seal Family, same thing. I mean, do I have to talk about it? The list goes on and on of families and groups in JTV. Freak Show being another. But when you talk about the Skull Brotherhood, I mean, the Skull Brotherhood is not out there trying to win championships, Maverick. They're not out there necessarily always trying to be in the public. They're not out there building talent for the future. The Skull Brotherhood is an infestation in JTV that manifested again and is feeding on the darkness and evil of every corner of the pro wrestling circuit. You just mentioned the possibilities that you'd be open to working with this organization if the price is pretty much right, being even size, you being the one in control, and trusting these people. You really think you can trust these people, if they are people, to be on your side if it came down to it? And when you say that, that makes me feel like you're either talking about BKS or something worse that would force Freak Show and the Skull Brotherhood to work together to try to eliminate the target or the enemy of all you guys. You really think this is safe? You think this is safe for Colin, you know, Jocelyn Havoc, and the rest of your organization that's on the rise as you continue to see new members of the Freak Show?
Here's what I'll say. BKS is a cancer to JTV. And in my opinion, anything that needs to be rid of, if it's got to get done, it's got to get done. Now, do I want to put myself? Do I want to put myself? Do I want to put, Colin or Jazzy in the middle? No, I don't. I don't. Do I want to put any member of the Freak Show in the middle and up front of this? No, 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 no. That's why at the current moment, I don't need them. Right now, it's all about the Freak Show. And the Freak Show is all about helping JTV. And right now, we're focused on getting those members to help us take out JTV. So right now, Skull Brotherhood isn't needed. That's why I said I don't see myself being a part of that now or anywhere near in the future. So again, if it was needed and we were kind of desperate, sure. But I can assure you that the Freak Show is not desperate. We have our eyes on people as well. We have our eyes on people that we want to bring in, that we know are going to be stars, that we know are going to be big talent within JTV, and that we know can help us save JTV. So, just so you know, we're not here to mess up JTV. We're here to help JTV. Because again, BKS is here to do none of that. They're actually here to as John Cena would like to say, ruin wrestling. They're here to ruin those future stars that are within JTV. Again, yes, they are the fastest growing organization, but soon enough, they're down. They're done. That's all I got to say. So again, we've got our eyes on people. We don't need Skull Brotherhood. But we've got our eyes on people that we are fairly certain will join the Freak Show. And we are fairly certain will help us in this fight. Those people that don't see it coming, oh, they're going to be real upset when it happens. That's all I got to say. So, yeah.
The skull, the BKS bleeds. Skull Brotherhood probably drinks blood. I, I'm gonna wait this one out and see, but I'm gonna do this one real quick. Malcolm Berry versus Maverick on MPW or JTV. A chance to Maverick that you choose. You should come through MPW. Man, sounds like a challenge to me. I want to mention him real quick before you even respond to that guy. I got hit up by Barry before I went on the air today. And well, actually, I don't even know if I can talk about this. He told me something that was very, very interesting. Um, and I give him a shout out and I give him respect for that. Um, and also, he was my last guest who came on here and we covered quite a few things that I don't need to go back into. I said I wasn't going to do it. So I'm not going to go back into any of the things we talked about, but respects to him and respect for making the decision that he made. And I think it was a great decision that you made, Barry. Now, I think it's safe to say that I think me and him, I mean, we were never really on horrible terms, but we bury our hatchet, and I think that me and him are cool. Possibilities of you working with this man. Any thoughts on this man at all?
So what I'll say about Malcolm, and about this potential match, obviously, if I can have a better JTV, better City of Impact episode, then maybe it's possible. But I figure that would make you chuckle a little bit. But
Shots fired. I like it. I like it. We're what, 37 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
I like it.
Here's what I'll say. And I don't know if necessarily this is news or not. This might be news. This actually might be breaking news that hasn't been announced yet. Jay, you know a little bit of this, I believe. If you don't, then surprise. But there is been some talks between myself and that company. And all I got to say is, we'll see. If that was a thing that was to happen, then we'll see.
Man, there's possibilities, and like I told Chris Conscience, like I tell you, like I tell anybody on my roster that, like I said, I'm not here to hold anybody back. My job here is to try to get people over, work with them. So I'm absolutely in favor, thumbs up, of you guys being able to explore ventures outside of JTV. I'm all for that. So long it is, not promotions that is having issues with us and stuff like that. I'm all for it. Leagues, e-feds, player versus player, PvP, whatever. So definitely am in favor of you going over there and getting some matches in or whatever the case is. I don't have any issues with that, and this is on air. We're not even having a private meeting, so I think it can be good.
And I don't mean to cut this part off for a second, but I'm looking at the comment section myself, and here's what I got to say. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say about one of these comments here, because I see Mark Bannon talking all this trash in the comment section about Maverick. You have to be so blind that you're trying to kill your alliance with Joss and Colin. That's rude. Man, the only thing that's rude is you don't know who to pick. You don't know who to pick, BKS, or if you don't know if you want to go against BKS. You constantly talking about how you like BKS, then you say you don't like BKS. How about you make up your mind? You so rude. I don't understand. Like Mark Bannon doesn't know what to pick. Man is so tongue-tied and so being pulled in other directions. You think he's related to Billy Ray Dog. I don't know what you want me to do.
Come
Like,
on, man.
pick something, man. Like, geez, come
Uh,
on.
shit. I didn't even realize that Shendon was in the comments. That man watching too, you know. But damn, y'all are killing me. I haven't even asked you any questions yet about the list that I have. We're just answering
Well, you know
comments.
what?
Like this whole episode could literally be about us answering questions, and they'll still love it. You know what I mean? And they'll
True.
still, it'll still get up there. But if you want to say something, man, microphone's in your hand. You sound like you wanted to add something.
Now, I was just gonna say, feel free to ask questions, and I'll
Yeah.
answer them the way that I can, in the easiest way that I can. And if I can't answer them, it's probably because I'm, contractually obligated that I can't say anything. So, anyways,
Well, you're gonna have the opportunity to say a lot of shit later on in this show. But before we get to some of that action, let's get to some of these questions, man. All right, for those of you that was following the first episode and you didn't get the opportunity to finish the rest of Maverick's story, this is Maverick's story right now. Now you get to continue the story. So you've unpaused the game, your saved data has loaded up, and you're ready to continue the story. Uh, last time on the show, before we wrapped up, before that second hour, I said I wanted to talk to Maverick about Mr. Amazing. Mr. Amazing, former JTV World Heavyweight Champion. I've known this guy since 2012. He's always been a phenomenal athlete. He's always been someone who pissed me the hell off because, well, he didn't piss me off, but he always he did something to me that at that time I wasn't seeing in wrestling that much. And one of the things I liked about Mr. Amazing, and he's probably going to laugh his ass off when he listens to this if he does, but Mr. Amazing used to super kick people in the back of their head, and I just always thought that was mad disrespectful. Now, how you gonna super kick another human being in the back of their head in matches? I'm like, you gotta chill out, you know. And if it wasn't that, it was him doing the Randy Orton pose. That used to piss me off, you know. Shout out to Russ Walker, I see. But yeah, I mean, one of the goats, no doubt about it, Mr. Amazing. Um, running with the three-way deadlock, potentially working his way into his next title if Mark Bannon has anything to say about it, a chemical warfare at that premium live event. These two men are going to be tying up for the title, world television title, that is. And, I think Mark has the potential to come out on top. I really do, but Mr. Amazing is coming to win. And he's had a successful career. He's also dealt with the Skull Brotherhood, by the way. He's had his run-ins with BKS as well. He had a major match with Shendon. I mean, it may have been Crypt, but Mr. Amazing was still in there. When he tied up with Shendon. I mean, Mr. Amazing was there because he went in and out of the disease that is Crypt. You know what I mean? So we got an opportunity to see some work from both. Mr. Amazing and Crypt against him. Um, and with all the time Mr. Amazing has been around, with the things he's accomplished, um, for me as a fan of JTV and as a fan of wrestling, real wrestling, not that WWE bullshit y'all be watching. Here we go. These days, anyways, we'll get to that. But as a fan of real professional wrestling, which you have a little bit of that, you have a little bit of professional wrestling in Call. You have a lot of professional wrestling in JTV. I, Maverick versus Mr. Amazing is just a dream match that needed to take place. You know, we got an opportunity to see this work two showdowns ago, um, and haven't looked back ever since because it was great. It was the right call, even though you were working with Crypt. But you got the opportunity. Uh, Let me give you a date. All right, let's be professional. So I want to talk to you about just briefly about August 31st, 2019. You got the big call up. I had informed you that you was coming up to the main roster from Next Gen. I had felt like you have done your time. in next gen. You've had a few matches here and there, and you was ready to come out of there and come to the main roster. And Mega Rush 117, you come into the building and you put hands on Mr. Amazing for your official Mega Rush debut. You're called up, and now starts the road to your Ultimate Showdown program with him. What is the thoughts on Mr. Amazing, working with him, and finally getting that call up to the main roster for Maverick?
Yeah, so I'll start with the call up, and then I'll work my way up. So the call up itself, um, you know, the way it was done, um, I didn't realize, um, I didn't realize what I had my hands in, if that
Hey,
makes
let me
sense.
let me cut you off real quick. Don't forget what you're saying. Look at this real quick. I'll give you the opportunity to answer this later. We got to go back to this right here. I'm actually going to star that if I can. Okay, I could. All right, go ahead.
All right, so um, but what I was saying was, I didn't realize what I was putting my hands into, and I was a little confused as to what I was being told, and basically when I got the call up, obviously it was my last match at my last match in next gen. I was fighting Shinden. I was told, hey, you're gonna work alongside Draskell, and you're gonna work alongside the Freak Show, and you're gonna learn a lot from Draskell. You're gonna get to do this and that. And I was like, okay, shoot, heck yeah, it sounds like a blast. It's gonna be fun. And getting called up
So we
was a
thought.
great up. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you. I'm just
Okay.
saying. So we thought it'd be that way, but
Yeah. So getting called up was a great moment. I was excited, but I was nervous. I knew from talking with you, from talking with SYM at the time, I knew I was ready to go to the main roster. I didn't really want to be in next gen, that much longer, and I was like, man, this is my time. This is the opportunity that I get to have to be on a broader scale. And obviously, next gen was uh yeah. So when I got here and you were like, hey, you're going to be feuding with Mr. Amazing, I had told you in the past that fighting Mr. Amazing was one of the things I wanted to do.
right.
And getting the opportunity to fight Mr. Amazing and getting to have a program with him and getting to just have the opportunity to work with him was a fantastic time. Getting to not only wrestle him in my first match at Ultimate Showdown, but getting to do promos with him and getting to do like I said, an entire program with him might be one of my favorite moments in all of JTV wrestling, in my time at least.
Right.
And again, I didn't know what to expect. I knew that Amazing was one of the best. I knew that he was one of the greats. And
Mm.
when you told me, and I still remember it, when you told me, and I've never told you this story before, when you told me that I was fighting him at Ultimate Showdown, I literally went back and I told Guru and Donnie and all those that were in JTV, and I told them, I was like, guys, I'm back in this company. I haven't told you, but I'm fighting on their biggest show, and I'm fighting against one of the legends in the company. And they got a little jealous. They were a little upset. They wanted to know why I went back. I explained to them. I figured that I thought it was something that I needed to do. They didn't really care for it, but I was doing my own thing. And the simple fact of it is, I was excited. I had never had an opportunity like this.
Right.
But when, of course, when the day came and he came out as Crypt, I was nervous. I won't lie. When everybody was going nuts and going crazy that it was Crypt, I was
Alter
like,
ego. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh boy. I was like, this is gonna be
Steve
a lot.
Borden puts
And
the stink
if I
face
had
paint on,
never
pretty much.
fought Mr. Amazing, I would say that that was one of my dream matches. I think fighting him again would be a dream match. I think getting the opportunity to go against Mr. Amazing is anyone's, dream match.
Right.
Um, but getting to fight Crypt is a whole nother dream match in itself. Yes, of course, it's the same person, but it's an alter ego that we don't see much. Um, and so getting the opportunity to have that opportunity in my first Ultimate Showdown was one of the greatest honors I think I've had.
Hmm. I was proud of you. I was glad you came back. I thought that okay, he's sticking around, he's making the effort, and now he's coming up. And I thought you did pretty damn good at that time you came up in 2019 to Mega Rush. You had a good look, good music. It was a whole nother attitude, and it was different. And I remember that we was going through a bit of a process because a lot of people might a lot of people that watch you now might not remember this, but there was a time when you wasn't in Freak Show.
Mm,
There was a time that you was being yourself. You was just Maverick, before of course you joined the Freak Show. And I think joining the Freak Show has been a saving grace for your career. You know, I just think that I know you don't need the Freak Show. Is what I'm saying.
mm,
But with the Freak Show, it's like it was something that was important. You know what I mean? It was something that like it almost needed to happen because when you look at everything that's happened, including the Rage in the Cage with you and Shendon, I mean that was like a whole movie. You know what I mean? That was like No Holds. I mean, it wasn't as bad as No Holds Bar with Hulk Hogan and all of them, but Rage in the Cage was dope. And Rage in the Cage, a lot of things came out of Rage in the Cage. It wasn't just the great cinematics that you've had with Shannon, but it was also the reveal of the Freak Show Room of Trials. The three Freak Show Room of Trials. To have a room of trials really took me back to Arkham.
mm.
I think it was Arkham Origin. I might be wrong. Mark will probably correct me in the comments, but you had Batman go through this scenario where you had like Ra's put him through different trials and he had to drink out of the cup of the demon or whatever the hell it was. So it took me back to that time. And I think I was probably in my sentimental Batman thoughts when I was trying to write for that show. And I was very proud at how it came out. And I'm glad that you was able to be one of the main features to that show, a protagonist in every sense of the word. You came in and the program between you and Shendon. I mean, you think about this for a moment. The world heavyweight title wasn't even on the line, and y'all sold a whole pay per view just on story. I don't know if you realize that. And it go and this is me reminding y'all how talented all of y'all are. Y'all sold a pay per view that did not even feature the World Heavyweight Championship on the line and had all of y'all presenting that story to everybody that was tuning in, and it worked and it was successful. That makes
Well,
me
and
feel
I don't
good.
know if a lot of people know this or not, Jay, and you may have said this before, but you and I worked very heavily on that show as well.
The Freak Show Room of Trials is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
It worked. It it helped. It was different. It was unique. It was shot with a different camera. We never had a rotating camera like that before. And um the ending was just interesting. The way you pinned Shendon for the 1, 2, 3, and the whole building just went berserk. You know, I could remember listening to Amber, and Amber was like, "Oh, this is bullshit," and a bunch of people seemed to be upset at that moment. They weren't shocked. They weren't sure how to act. You know, and Maverick, you were really just fooling everybody all night long. I mean, quest after quest after quest. You know, you had all these things being thrown at this dude, and I'm not just saying it to blow smoke up his ass. I'm saying it because the project was dope, and it couldn't have been dope if you weren't a part of it.
Mm.
I was very happy how it turned. It was a lot of things about it that I could remember that just was dope. The way you looked at him when he was down after you hit him with the title, and you're just standing over him with the world title. Um, just you would mess with him every single room. It was dope. And one of the last things I'm gonna say, so I don't just rant with this, is Rage in the Cage along with you was the first public event I think wrestling related that featured Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll was not viral when Chemical Warfare came out. He had the Dead Man Walking soundtrack with you and Shannon, and it was. I'm trying to watch my mouth here. I haven't dropped my first F bomb today yet, but it was dope because right after that he went viral,
Mm.
and now he's just worldwide. He wasn't worldwide when we featured him, so that also makes me proud. And you were a part of that, and I hope you're proud of yourself that you was a part of that because you did something in your life that's important. You know what I mean? And so continuing, and the more I think about it, I get hyped. Continuing, I'm gonna take this time to stop for a moment because I want to talk to you about Mega Rush, but I want to give you the opportunity to defend yourself from a few comments. Here's one. Colin Klein says, shit, just told me she wanted to join BKS. So I guess Jocelyn told him she wants to join BKS because she feels like Freak Show is dead and it's not doing anything for her. It seems to be a bit of trouble in paradise here going on in the Freak Show. Do you think with the new season of JTV and 2K25, you think that you'll be able to calm these nerves down in Freak Show for people not just to want to join, but for also group members that you currently have to not feel so much like it's time to move on?
Well, here's what I'll say, and you can back me up on this. I sure hope so. Um, you and I spent many late nights planning and conversating on what we wanted the Freak Show to be. You and I mean, I will say this, and I know that everybody in JTV will accept this, and Shinden, don't say that this is kissing his butt or whatever,
Man,
because
don't worry
this
about
is
what nobody
I,
says.
I know, but this is real.
People,
And-
even if you do shit the right way, people still gonna judge you no matter what.
yeah.
You know how
But
many
listen,
people hate me and call for telling the truth? Come on, man, but
well,
don't get me
okay.
started, man. We
But
live, man. Come on, man.
here's what I was gonna say, okay? Because everybody in this
Yeah.
chat will agree with me when I say this.
Okay.
You have the ability to listen to us and give us freedom. You have the ability not only to do that, but to work alongside us and
Okay.
help us. And you have spent many nights, just you and I, sitting there in a chat or in a text chat or something, talking, right? I mean, we have spent time until 5 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, talking about just the most random things
For
that aren't
years.
even happening in JTV right now.
Yeah. For years.
And
Yeah.
and so, you know, you listen to my ideas, and a lot of the times you take them. So, Colin, Jess, if you guys are listening right now,
Mm,
you're about to, hear a side that you've probably never heard before.
mm.
I actually was the one that told Jay that I thought it would be a great idea for you guys to be in the freak show. Why? Because I think you guys are incredible people, but also I think you guys are incredible people in the ring. I think you guys are great at what you do. I think you're great at your promos. I think you're great in the ring. I think you're great in the heart. I think you're great everywhere. And so I told him, I told Jay, and Jay agreed with me. Jay actually, I believe, was the one that approached me. And I said, absolutely. He was the one that approached me and said, I want them to be in Freak Show. And I said, absolutely. Because, Jay knows this. I have a list of people that I want here. I have a list of people that I want in the freak show. And I tell him this constantly. And he says, well, we'll watch them and we'll see. And that's the thing that I like, is that we take time to say, okay, this person did this. I think they'd be a good fit. So again, we do the same thing. We did the same thing for Colin and for Jazz. And when I found out that this is what we were doing, I was over the moon about it. And so do I think that coming into this next season is going to change? Absolutely. Colin and Josh, y'all don't know the plans that Jay and I have for the Freak Show. We have plans for the Freak Show as a whole. We have plans for myself. We have plans for you guys. There are so many things that's about to happen that JTV is not ready for, that BKS is not ready for, that maybe myself and you guys aren't ready for. There's about to be a completely 180 switch and a completely 180 swift movement happening within JTV, within Freak Show, within Colin's career, my career, Josh's career. There's so many things that's about to change, and no one's prepared for it. And again, from the conversations that you and I have had, I think that those two people, along with myself, are about to be pretty excited with what's about to happen. So what I can say is Colin, Josh, we're in a break period right now. Be prepared for what's about to happen. And you guys will be involved in those conversations. Don't worry. But things are about to go down that I think you guys are going to get pretty excited about.
All right. Very good. Let me turn this off for a moment and let me address a certain elephant in the room, because on this channel and on this show, we don't run from anybody. So, no kills, no damage. You finally decided to come to the dinner table. Welcome to the party, amigo. Let me make this clear to you, just in case, because I'm not really sure what you're getting at, but I might have an idea. Uh, our station's been down for a bit. We are putting together the funds to correct the issue that's going on right now in JTV. We're there, we're close, and once we get to this time, we'll be able to get back to business. We get back to business, I think it's going to be an incredible season. We are not able to put shows out right now. So this show, Maverick as my witness, was always planned for today. So there's nothing that we're milking. This was all planned. This show was going to go on today, no matter what. And we have at least 2 shows that are ready to go once we get the engine up and running. So, and it's not going to be 3 months. So we're ready to go. Everything is good. JTV 19 got a new logo yesterday. I'm not going to just go off because this is Maverick's episode. We're here to talk with him, but I just want to make that well understood. Oh, he said he was talking about Maverick. All right, I just wanted to make sure he wasn't coming at me. And at some point in time, we're going to have that guy coming on this show as well. He'll be here as a guest. But I just wanted to make everybody understood what was going on with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he means by milking the content, because again, this has been planned for, I mean, for weeks because of what happened with the storms and everything. So I'm not milking no content. I'm just getting the rest of my spotlight to talk about my story and talk about who I am. That way you all can get to know me a little bit more.
Well, speaking of get to know me, I like to get to know some of y'all. So definitely drop some comments. Let me know what's up and smash that like button. We got 12 to 13 people watching. I want to go back to this message real quick because I thought it was sweet. We got Russ Walker saying Maverick was testing me when he got the call up. He literally left me on red. Man, you leaving Russ on red, Maverick?
I don't remember that, so I'm going to plead the fifth.
Come on, man. Now I got to look for that comment again. Um, or I could just switch it. Oh, I can't put Shendon's message up.
I do remember texting. Texting Scott Gross, but that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah, we just gonna move on from that. Just ignore what he said. Um, so the next thing
Man,
I
I
want
love
to
Scott Gross. You know, speaking of Scott Gross, he was my hero. Actually, Scott Gross, I think he might be my dream match for JTV, like my biggest dream match. So there's that.
so anyways, I got another date for you. September 14th, 2019. You got a unique opportunity to debut Omega Rush. You beat Majestic Tokyo. This is Mega Rush episode 118 from the information I have. Now, obviously, just beating Majestic Tokyo is not it's not big for conversation, you know. The big conversation is now that you put hands on Mr. Amazing as you came to Mega Rush. You have now been called up. You are now in a program storyline rivalry with Mr. Amazing. Um, getting that first dub on Mega Rush in the big leagues. You got the call up. What is going through your mind at this time? Are you feeling confident? September 28th, 14th, September 14th, 2019. Anything,
Um,
anything significant that you would want to add?
I mean, obviously, I think at this point, and maybe I'm getting my dates mixed up. You can stop me if I am, but I think I remember at this point, um, Draskell's gone. Um, and I think it's around this time that I'm being told that I'm the new leader of the
He,
Freak Show. Am I
he
correct?
no, he wasn't gone because you were still working with Wolf.
That's
The next
correct. Yes.
the
I was getting
next
my
Mega
dates mixed
Rush,
up.
yeah, the next Mega Rush, you was working with Wolf and them, and even Porky the Pig was still around.
Right.
So he was still around. You know, he left sometime after. Well, honestly, Drasko never really left. I got rid of him. That's really what happened.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
because after he had the title, um, and he got in his feelings about Wolf, you know, which we don't have to go into a whole, you know what I mean. But if I'm being completely honest, uh, Wolf always manipulated Drasko, and a lot of people knew about that. I'm sure you knew about that. He was always like,
Hmm.
it seemed like he was always trying to tell him what to do and stuff like that. And always tried to like make that understood to him. It's just that they flipped it on me when he backstabbed us and was promoting the idea that instead what I was really trying to do was to get them to fight or not be friends anymore. You know what I mean? And the moment that that was used against me, I just stopped. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop. Kind of like this guy that I met when I was traveling. Um, I don't know. He thought I had a beer, had an issue with me and whatnot. You know what I mean? And once he used, because I was on my way to Washington D.C. Once he used it against me that, oh, you're just talking shit to me because you're about to get off. I just stopped arguing with the guy because I'm like, oh, not only is it childish, but there's no point. You're not going to get to this person. You know what I mean? I couldn't get to him. So when he came to me, he lied to me at first and said that he wasn't going to leave us. And then what happened is he started, I guess, talking with him a little hee haw and this, and decided he wanted to jump ships. You know what I mean? At the time, he's the world champion. He agreed to stick around to lose the belt. He had agreed to that. It's just that it made me so sick that he was handling shit the way he was that I didn't even want to bother. You know what I mean? And it goes to show you where my interest is at. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about a match or keeping him around, having that benefit. I was thinking this dude disrespected me and he disrespected this promotion. He shouldn't be here anymore. You know, forget him losing the title with honor or whatever. Just strip him out of the damn title and get him out of here. You know what I mean? And I made that decision. I got rid of him, and then I had to vacate the world heavyweight title, and then there was an opportunity to crown Mr. Amazing the world champion for the first time finally. You know, so I'm the one that got rid of him. I'm just get the fuck out of here. You know, excuse my language if that offends you, but
No, it doesn't.
you know, so moving on though. That and that's for those who didn't know, in case there were lies that were said. You know, he never left. I got rid of him. He was in the process of leaving, but I speed up the process. So that didn't happen. That didn't happen yet. We're probably going to get close to that when it was your time to rise and lead the freak show, but it hasn't happened yet. There's something interesting in here that I'm seeing that I think it'll be good for us to talk about again if we didn't cover it enough in the first episode. And I'm try to keep up with you on in the comment section. All right, but uh, there was a match you had on Mega Rush 119, September 28th, 2019, with King Wolf. So obviously they were still around,
Hmm.
and you can say whatever you want about the guy that you haven't or have already said on the first part of this, but this is Act Two. And look, they could tell you're eating cereal or something.
Man,
They
I hadn't had lunch, so I'm eating my food. Leave me alone, no kills. Get out of here.
hey man, all that stuff is allowed on this show. I don't give a damn, but it might bother some of the viewers. I know No Kills for sure does not like when people chew. You know, he almost handed my ass to me last night. Whoa, let me reiterate that.
Kills,
He
I'll send you an ASMR of me just eating.
me and him almost got into it yesterday because I was eating cereal last night, and he was like, "God damn, why you crunching like that?" I was playing some Call of Duty, and it was fun yesterday. We was kicking some ass. But going back to this story, well, I don't really want to talk about Wolf a whole lot. You know, I could do a whole podcast on that guy, but you and him working together, I think, was great for JTV. He's one of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest wrestlers, one of the greatest characters, gimmicks of all time. Uh, I just wish I could say the same for the individual who plays King Wolf. Um, I'll leave it at that. And if you want me to go more into detail about that some other time, y'all can let me know in the comments. But I'm done with that. Uh, anything you want to add, Maverick? What you thought about him? What you thought
Screw
about
King Wolf. Um, I never liked King Wolf. I never liked him. And I never liked anybody that was even acquaintances with him. Obviously you were an acquaintance with him, but you're not the
he
necessarily what I'm
wanted
talking
it.
about.
He wanted it. That I told you why how and why I got rid of Draskell. But with
Yep.
Wolf, with Wolf shit is he just wanted to be a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? For a couple months. And that's why I was trying to talk with him as far as Night of Rebels. When you was working with Shendon, all that stuff that was going on, or no, he worked what y'all work what was it? Y'all worked Night of Rebels and he worked chemical warfare. No, you worked chemical warfare with Shendon and he worked
Yeah.
Night of Rebels. Is
I
what it was.
no 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 no
Oh
no.
no,
I
no,
worked
you did
chemical.
both. You did both. You
Yes.
did both. You did both. You did both.
Chemical warfare was the fatal four way. It was me, Wolf, him,
Okay.
and Billy.
Okay.
Then Night of Rebels was myself versus him. That was my last match within
It,
Next Gen.
all right. It seemed to me like he was just always I'm trying to watch my language. He was always a pain in the neck at that.
Hmm.
Not always. And he was dope in 2019, but I'm about to get on my Sabu being honest type shit, just talking while you vape. uh, I liked him for a while. He was great, but by mid 2019 or whatever, he was just a pain in the neck. There had been like
I
three,
you know,
four.
I'll be honest while you're on that.
Yeah.
Anytime that I was in the party with him, not even just playing or doing matches with him, anywhere else that I would be, he was overbearing. Like I just couldn't. He was just trying too hard, and I couldn't get around to ever liking him. And that's no shot. I mean, it kind of is a shot, I guess you could say. I just never liked him. He There are many people within JTV that are gone that I could not stand, and you know this. Shendon knows this. I've made it perfectly clear of the people that have left JTV that I just cannot be around and would never be around again. Half of them, I'll tell you about something when we get off of the City of Impact that you don't know about, but that just happened recently that I feel like you would get a chuckle out of. But I can't. I don't know if I should tell you here. Maybe later.
Okay.
But again, there are many within that I couldn't like, and King Wolf was one of those. He just seemed to me he was too cocky, and he was just always like, for instance, Shendon always thinks that he's hurting my feelings whenever he's in character. He's not, because Shendon knows how to be in character and how not to be in character. To
Right.
me, anytime that I was doing anything with King Wolf, he would stay in character. He couldn't be out of character. He couldn't be
Really?
himself. Like he could not be who he was in real life. He was just King Wolf the entire time. And that's exactly to me how Draskell was. Draskell was the same way. We would be playing Dying Light together and he would be talking in his clown voice. And I'd be like, bro, why are you doing this? Just be yourself. Like he couldn't be someone that's not Draskell. He could just be Draskell with the clown voice and not be himself, And it didn't sit well with me. Like you've
I
got
thought
two
Draskell
different
was
ways of
cool.
doing it.
I thought he was cool. He's just an idiot and just fake. But he was laid back compared to Wolf. Wolf was always like aggressive about the things he wanted,
Hmm.
And he had went on somewhere. I don't remember where, had lied about some shit that said he accomplished certain things or whatever. It's like every title that you ever had and every title shot that you ever had was all handed to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his first title stuff was scripted. Everything was scripted unto that point because when it came to really winning titles, it's not something he could do on his own. And that was the reason we had issues because at Showdown when he went up against Draskell for the world title, he wanted to win. Like he really, really wanted to win. So much so that when the match was done, and this is going outside of things I shouldn't be talking about on here, but when the match was done, he wanted to run it back, and I chuckled and I was like, oh no, that's not gonna happen, and he felt like upset that I wouldn't run it back, and it's just like, why would I run it back? All the way up to that point when he lost his title, he lost the C Division title to Shen at Chemical Warfare, I believe. And when that happened, it was like almost everything started coming down, you know. So he loses the C Division title, and then like a lot of other matches he lost. Corey whooped his ass on one episode of Mega Rush or some shit. He was losing certain matches, but he's still in the program with Draskell for the title. I thought it was the right time, and that's why I had talked about it. I thought it was going to be a positive thing. I'm like, how great that we get to tell the brother story. I mean? So it took me back to Brett versus Owen, and I had a lot of love for those kids. It's just that everything up to that point was just bad. And then at Showdown, like all his other matches that he was showing up to, he goes to Showdown, he gets his ass destroyed, um, and then he wants to go rematch. You know what I mean? You don't do that. You know what I mean? When you're headlining Ultimate Showdown, you have to be at the very top tier shape of your career. You got to be ready and willing and able to show up and outperform everyone and steal the show. It's called Showdown for crying out loud. You know what I mean? It's not some
Yeah.
fucking corny ass shit. You know what I mean? So this is a big deal. And um when he showed up and he got embarrassed and wanted to run it back, it was like, no,
Yeah.
you know,
I
and he
agree.
was upset that I would not be that person you was talking about. You said I wouldn't suck up to him. I don't suck up to anyone in this damn promotion. You know what I mean? And I give respect to everybody, you know what I mean? But I'm not here to play favorites for anybody. I'm here to help people. Of course I have friends, you know, some of you guys closer than others in JTV, but I am not here to put one of y'all in my pocket and be like, you're coming with me and I'm gonna keep you. You're gonna be the golden goose or whatever, you know, the whole time. Hell no, you know. And he didn't like that. He didn't like. I guess he had made comments about being my right hand man and whatnot once upon a time, stuff like that. And um, you know, I respected him all the way. Even in that match, I respected him, and that's why I wouldn't give him any rematch after that because it's like out of respect for Showdown, respect for the world title. You know, that was it. And Draskell was like at first on my side, and then he started insisting like that I give him a title rematch, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to give him a rematch. He's been a pain in my neck for the longest time. This was a great opportunity for him, and he didn't give a shit. And then after that, I started being called Hitler and Vince Russo and all this shit. You know, I can't say it's demeaning and degrading to me because I'm not PG, so that shit don't do anything to me except rub my belly. But you know, it was his intention to try to make me look bad. You know what I mean? So I get it, you know, and because I wouldn't give him what he wanted to take him, he wanted to run along with SYM and same with Draskell. You know what I mean? And we see how that turned out. LOL. So at this point, I think both are great athletes. Um, do I think they deserve a Hall of Fame induction one day in the future? Sure, absolutely. I think they've earned it, but I don't think they're man enough to talk to me. I tried to reach out to all of them about a year or two ago. I had Shendon with me and maybe some other people. We got to talk to King Wolf a little bit, talk to him a little bit. He was scared at first that me and Shendon was contacting him, which was hilarious. I don't know why. You know, he was a big gangster for about a year after that. You know, so I don't know why would he be so intimidated by me and Shen, but it was interesting that that happened. And the reason we were contacting them is because I wanted to get their side and find out why they did what they did because I never really got legitimacy to why. I've heard from Wolf that you know he felt like I guess he was being controlled because I was on his ass about doing his part for JTV, which is my job in JTV to get on everybody, even myself. You know, that's why. ev- Look at the progress we've made. Everything has stepped up. We've leveled up, if you will, because I've had to get on myself before I get on anybody else. You know, so I'm not a bad guy for that. That doesn't make me a Hitler or a Vince Russo or manipulative bastard or evil friend. That's just me doing my part, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't want to go into a bunch of different history now, so I'm gonna try to avoid it. But um, I give them all. I give both those boys all the credit in the world. But they really shit the bed when they made the decision that they made. You know what Draskell should have did is remain the example, stay the JTV World Heavyweight Champion, continue to put together the excellent run that he had, and just if you didn't have, which he never did, have a good reason to do what he did, just because Wolf was over there, just excuses. You know what I mean? You could have been the example, and you could have let him back. Um, Wolf wanted to be the renegade. I get it. He thought he wanted to try to stick it to us because I wouldn't give him the rematch. He really wanted to close Showdown as him being the world champion, not giving a shit about Draskell. And I understand that, but I mean, it's not cool. If anything, you should have been happy for your brother. That he was able to retain the world title, and if it would have been me and No Kills at Showdown for the world title, there's pressure. We both would want to be the world heavyweight champion, and it's how it would have been back in the day. But if he would have won, if I would, if either person would have won, we still would have been happy. If he would have beat me and won the world title, I smile about it. Look at this bastard having his moment, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And Wolf just never been that guy. He always sided with Draskell, try to be his friend, and I think he's his friend, and I think they do care about each other. But Draskell came to me a bunch of times behind the scenes telling me that that Wolf was on some fake shit, that he was with his girl all the time, and that he wasn't spending time with him and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You think about me and Corey, we talk like every day. Me and No Kills, we had our bumpy road, but we're close. You know what I'm saying? Me and Shendon have our thing when we don't hate each other. Kevin Impact and BKS. Me and Conscious. I mean, the list goes on and on. Me and you, me and Mark, and I got my love for Russ Walker. It's a lot of people. Colin Klein. So to me, those relationships are important, and I would never like want to hurt them. Meanwhile, he just didn't give a shit. He was just using Draskell for success or whatever the case was, and it went from there. You know what I mean? And that's just my side on that, and I'll leave it there. I can continue. I really can, but I'll leave it at that just so we can continue this show. Um, I don't think there's anything else to add to that. We've already talked about that. We can move on. This is your episode. This is about you. So what else do I have here? Okay. So now is when we get to a little bit of the sticky stuff. No pun intended. Uh, October 12th, 2019, Mega Rush episode 120. Um, Heck of an opportunity was presented here because we had you and Draskell versus Corey Flash, Chris Morales, Flash, and King Wolf versus Phantom, and that other dude who used to run WWE. So that's a big deal. You're getting now the opportunity to roll with Draskell, balls in your court. Um, Everything happened the way it should have done, Maverick, because it was always planned for you to like almost blossom within the freak show. Because when Draskell had the world title, you know, he's there, you're with him, you guys look good together. It was a very important thing, which, you know, again, my hat goes off to Draskell, who was willing to burn in the fire for Wolf, and Wolf was not willing to do the same. Um, he left here to go there with him, and he did that out of friendship. You know, Wolf was open arms receiving him there, not out of friendship, but out of hate for me not handing him the World Heavyweight Championship and handing him the Ultimate Showdown main event. You're now second in command, going on first, going to be the captain, going to be the leader. You take over the freak show, man, you have that conversation. You know the one. I break the news to you. I explain to you what was going on, which is interesting because when Wolf first did what he did, I came to Draskell very calmly and explained to him the situation. And with the way Draskell got the opportunity to come back to JTV after putting together that shitty ass promotion that he did, and he had Hudson and Corey, a bunch of people that was over there. You know, Mark was over there. You know, I shut them down after one episode. After one episode, I put them out of business and offered Draskell the opportunity to come back. Whole promotion gets shut down. Anybody that was against me, either not knowing why they were against me or because someone was telling them I was a horrible person, just instantly it was done. You know, and he was so stupid that he even went and deleted that whole show. So the existence of that promotion it's nowhere to be found. He just the whole thing shut down, and he did it because he was offered an opportunity to come back to JTV. He even got a hype video. Comes back to JTV, and your thank you is I'm going to stab y'all in the back again. And it makes you wonder, because this is one of those things where it's one of them prime examples of you don't know what you have until you lose it. And I'm pretty sure today, I mean, I've seen this dude's account floating around. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting for him to be a man. Inbox is open. I don't hate him, but at the same time, it's just interesting. That's all. And he's out of the picture. You're now in position. You're now on base. You're now Beirut. You're now A-Rod. You know what I'm saying? You're now Derek Jeter. You're the team captain. You're taking over. And whatever happens with Freak Show now is on you. And Freak Show has been hella bumpy since 2019, since you took the shit over. But 2025, there's opportunities. Now, we don't have to talk about that. We're just sharing information because we already made it well understood that what the intentions are this year with Freak Show. But Ultimate Showdown 4 is something we have to talk about. Ultimate Showdown 4, you tied up with Crypt. It was an epic mega battle. It was your very first Ultimate Showdown that you have ever had in your career. I mean, this is like Sonic the Hedgehog collecting a big ring. You know what I mean? Going into that big vortex ring, on the Genesis. You had this opportunity to headline Showdown against one of the true GOATs. Thoughts on the match? Thoughts on you finally getting that break?
Yeah, so I mean, I touched on it a little bit earlier.
But this is Showdown.
When this happened, what is it?
This is Showdown, though. This is you entering Showdown for the first time ever and headlining with Crypt, Mr. Amazing's alter ego. That's deep.
Yeah. So, so getting to do my first Showdown, and this is something that not a lot of people know, but you do. We had a conversation about it. So,
Okay.
of course, the theme song I came out to, it was very short lived. We played it once. We played it for Ultimate Showdown, and then after that, that was it. We never played the song again.
Okay.
But what a lot of people don't know, again, you do. So the band that actually has that song, or the band that made that song, I'm actually related to. They're a pretty big rock band who's had theme songs for WWE. They've had theme songs. They've had theme songs for other wrestling companies. They've even toured Europe and opened for big bands, and they're a pretty massive rock group. And so it was Killing Floor by Blackstone Cherry. Again, they're from my
Okay.
hometown, and got to
Now,
play that song.
when you say related, do you mean y'all family or friends?
Yes, family.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. No, we're family, and so getting the opportunity to have that song play while walking down was a really cool moment.
Okay.
And so, but besides that, yeah, for my first Ultimate Showdown, obviously not the way I wanted it to go. I thought it was a fantastic match. I loved the match. I loved getting to fight Crypt. I loved that my first match was against Mr. Amazing, and I loved that it was in a moment like that. Again, a moment where it's Mr. Amazing, but he comes out as his alter ego, and getting again the opportunity to do that in my first Showdown was a massive opportunity. You tried to explain that to me multiple times, and the thing that I hate the most about that match, and I went into it as if it was just another match. I never went into it as it was, hey, this is my first Ultimate Showdown match. I need to make a statement. No, this was a match that I literally went into this match going, this is just another match. But I didn't realize that I was like, man, though, but this is a big match. Like I need to, and I don't know why I didn't think of it that way. I think the main thing was for me, I was in a spot where I was asking myself, what am I doing? Because I started having issues with Draskell. I didn't really care much about
Okay.
Draskell. Him and I were butting heads a lot. He wasn't actually coming around a lot with me. He wasn't talking to me a lot. The only
Mhm.
time that him and I would really discuss is, whenever we were planning for JTV or something else like that. We kind of stopped playing other things together. And so, anyways, so getting to fight Crypto again, I thought it was an awesome match. Mr. Amazing and we got to talk a little bit afterwards. We both talked about, how the match, or I told him what the match meant to me. I thanked him. And, obviously I thanked you for allowing me to
So I guess
have.
I guess it's safe to say that Draskell had.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, there you go. That's a fair point. But again, I thanked you for giving me that moment and allowing me to have that opportunity on the stage. But
Yeah.
I was still questioning, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I was also very much blindsided with the stuff that SYM had done to me also, because this is when I started to find out and realize the things that SYM had said about me behind my
Yeah,
back during
and not
all this.
and not just that. It was like almost like a manipulation thing because he wanted
Yeah,
you to throw in, lay down like Jeff Jarrett for
yeah,
fucking Hogan, and it's like,
yeah. Because any match that I had, SYM, he didn't want me to win. Again, Shinden, for example, he wanted me to just lay down because he was like, oh man, this is a great opportunity for you. You need to do this. He
yeah.
wanted me to lay down. For the match against Mr. Amazing, I remember him telling me, like, hey, I think you should do this move, this move, this move. And he was basically trying to change everything that you and I had discussed. And I was being pulled in two different ways, but I
Oh,
always
because
stayed loyal
he
to you.
did he did talk to you privately though. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he did.
I understand what. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He pulled me away from everyone. It was just me and him. We talked, and again, I stayed loyal to you because I was like, he's not the one that's leading me. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And
Yeah, he was the writer, but he always had this idea that like he was the boss or something. Like he
yep.
could tell people what to do, and it's just like, no, you're just writing. That's it. That's all you're supposed to be
But
doing.
besides all of that stuff that was going on,
Uh-huh.
um, I loved the match. I loved fighting Amazing. I would love to have another opportunity against him. Again, I was a little nervous.
Absolutely.
Again, I went into it as it was just another match. Um, but if him and I were to have another one, I know that it would be way better than it was then. And I'm looking forward to potentially sharing the ring with him again. I thought he was a great person. Again, afterwards, him and I talked. He gave me he gave me props. Again, I thanked you. I thanked him. I just thought it was an all around good match.
All right. Now let's talk about some of the money you owe me. Let's talk about some of the money you owe JTV Wrestling. I see you getting hella quiet about it. Let's talk about Christmas 2019, December 25th to be exact. Snow Showdown. You did something that I've never seen anyone in JTV ever do, and Shendon has been reckless on television. I mean, maybe Corey Flash, you know what I mean? Maybe VIP. I mean, I can only think of several people who were chaotic enough to pull some crazy shit off in JTV, but you did something that I have not seen anybody do that I can't think of them doing. Um, but I know somebody who thinks like that, but Nothing like that has happened quite yet. And there's certain things I can't talk about on here, believe it or not. But one thing you did do on this date is you destroyed the JTV World Heavyweight title, man. And when you did that, I had to work extra hard. I had to put some money down for us to get a new piece of gold. And it's a big deal. And I never gave you any sort of any type of violation for it. Didn't charge do anything. Didn't give you a fine. You know what I'm saying? Which I should have gave you like a $30,000 fine and suspended you for like 6 months, 3 months for doing that shit. But I understood that you were trying to get everybody's attention by doing what you did, especially as you was having your back and forth with Mr. Amazing. Um, so I guess it's safe to say that you'll stoop to any level you really need to get to where you're trying to go, huh?
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it this way. I had voiced my concerns and my opinions to you about what my thoughts were towards how the freak show was going and how Draskell was going. And I know for a fact at this time, because I remember the promo, but I remember at this time, I was now the new leader of the freak show.
Yeah.
I needed to make a statement. I needed to make a statement that the freak show was not going anywhere. I was making it because I remember I remember there were people asking that now that Draskell was gone, they said, I remember people going like, so is the freak show done? Is it what's going on with it?
Right.
And we never said anything. And then you pulled me aside and said you are going to be doing this, and I said okay. And I said, well, I've got to do something to change the game because obviously he's gone. So I've got to make it known that we're here. You know, people need to take us seriously. And in my brain, the number one thought that I had was, let's destroy the JTV world title. And looking back on it, it was pretty stupid, but it was pretty cool. So I do want to apologize. I am sorry that I did that. And if you need to pull it out of my contract, you can pull the money out and, but simply enough.
The thing that's crazy to me is that I know how much the world heavyweight title means to you. And for you to do that and set it on fire like that, it, it's almost like you're willing to cut your own arm off if you need to get to where you want to go in JTV. And I just feel like that makes you dangerous. I've not seen anybody destroy the title like that, like the way you did, you know. And I think you drove off to Ricky after that, which was hilarious.
Yeah, this was the first time that Ricky was introduced, if I can remember.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I have told you this numerous times. JTV means a lot to me, and I know that we are gonna. I'm sure that it is a conversation that's gonna come up during this. You know it. Shendon knows it. I have taken many breaks from this place, but JTV still
Personal
matters
things.
to me,
Yeah.
huh?
Personal things have gone on.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
JTV still means a lot to me. And I have discussed with you, and I have made it perfectly clear to you and to everyone else, I'm not stopping until I get what I want. And this isn't a Batista type of give me what I want. This is a Maverick is getting what he wants. Maverick is taking what he wants. But simply put, I'm a different type of person than I was then. I want to earn that opportunity, that right. Everybody thinks I'm just trying to take. But like you just said, I will do anything. I will do anything to get where I need to be and to get what I want and what I need. Now, is The JTV World Heavyweight Championship something I need? Not necessarily, but it is something that I want.
Mm,
And I have told you this before, and you just said it. I will stop at nothing and I will do anything to get that. Whether that be, if I can't have it, destroying the JTV World Heavyweight Championship. Whether that be cutting my arm off, like you just said. Whether that be, I don't know what it might be. I mean, of course, I know for a fact it wouldn't be joining that little group we were talking about earlier or bringing that group into mine, but that would not be it. Because I feel like what JTV needs is that title away from the person that has it now. And
mm,
that's why I said I will stop at nothing and I will do anything to take it.
nice. I like how you
Again,
said that.
it is not a simple, hey, I want this, give it to me. Because this is
Yeah,
all about earning it. And
definitely.
you,
But it's
it's
what you
like
want,
it's
you
like
know.
you told me last night. You told me last night, you said, well, there's a lot going on, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to show me.
I did say
And
that.
I have told you before, whether it be in the city, whether it be in the ring, whether it be in a random party chat, whether it be in a text chat, whether it be whatever, I'm going to prove it to you one way or another. Because I have told you and told you and told you, and I've told JTV, I'm not stopping and I will do what it takes. I will do absolutely what it takes. Whether that means going to war, whether that means taking out the ones that need to be taken out, whether that means composing a team along with myself and Joss and Colin, whatever it might be. I mean, I convinced Corey to go to war with me against two of BKS's own, and look at what we did. It's not a simple, give it to me. It's a simple, I want to earn it and I want to show you. And again, whether that means I have to go to war, I don't care what it is. I get what I want because I want it. I don't need it. I want it. A lot of people need it. I just want it.
Mm,
JTV already has everything that I need. It has the people I need. It has it has the family and the community that I need. Now this is just something that I want. That's all there is to it.
before I let you go, we're going to talk about some deep stuff. Remind me, okay?
Okay.
Remind me in case I forget, because I don't have that scripted. That's going to be unscripted. But we're going to get the opportunity to look at through some of these comments. As a matter of a fact, we're going to go ahead and give you the opportunity to address this right now. VIP asks, I want to know his thoughts on John Cena's current run as a heel. What do you make of that, real quick?
Um. So what I'll say in regards to that is, um, I don't like it. Um. Here's why. Let me explain why I don't like it. Um. I don't like the fact of the whole. Um. I don't like how he just hits people with titles and calls it. Um.
Mm.
And I don't like the fact that The Rock has kind of just left and just called it a day. Um, I like how they're building it, and I kind of see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Obviously we had Orton tonight. We're having our truth. You know, next will probably be Punk. We'll probably get. I've heard about the possible tag team match that's happening at Money in the Bank. I've heard about the possible tag team match that's happening at SummerSlam. I know tonight, or not tonight, but at Money in the Bank they're talking about it being Cody and the Usos versus Cena, Logan Paul, and Travis Scott, fine and dandy. This kind of gets Cody Rhodes back in that movement of, hey, let's have Cody fight Cena again, but not for the title. So this gives an opportunity for Cena to lose. And then, obviously, I've heard that at SummerSlam, they're going to have, I've heard at SummerSlam, they're going to have Cody and Bad Bunny versus Cena and what's his name? Travis Scott. So the way that they're doing it, I understand what they're trying to do. They're really trying to pull into that whole he's hurting and trying to and ruin professional wrestling. And I get what they're doing, but I think that they could do it a different way. Um, I like Cena. I went to the Rumble in Indiana or in Indianapolis. When he came out, I lost my mind. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely did. I love John Cena. But the WrestleMania match that him and Cody had could have been so much better, but it felt very lackluster. Um, you know, the way that ended kind of pissed me off a little bit. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't enjoy that match at all. The fact that he just hit him with the title and just called it a day and pinned him, and that was it. I didn't
Hallelujah.
feel like Cody had a shot to really do what he needed to do. And I'm a big Cody fan, and that's the other thing about it. I'm a big Cody fan, and so I didn't have an issue with him losing it. What I had an issue with was how he lost it. Um, I thought that it might have been better for him to maybe lose it at SummerSlam. I thought it might have been better for him to lose it somewhere else. Um, I don't have a problem with him losing it to Cena. I think it's just the way that he lost it to Cena. Um, and obviously he's on a hiatus. A lot of people think he's going to come back tonight. We'll see what happens. There's rumors that Cena is going to fight Punk at Money in the Bank, and if that's the case, that's great. But they need to do it right. And I feel like the way they need to do it right is they basically need to redo it the same
Take
way that they
Triple
did
H
their.
off creative. Oh my
What is
bad.
it?
Oh no, nothing. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I lost you.
I can hear you. You can continue.
Okay. Um, Go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, I just feel like it might be one of those things where they need to redo it the way they did the first match in Chicago when it was Cena versus Punk, and Punk walked out with the title and blew a kiss. I think that might be a way to do it, and I think that could be kind of dope. Obviously, that's probably not the way they're going to do it. They're probably just going to have Cena beat Punk and call it a day, and they're probably going to hit him with a thing. So I'm interested to see how they end this. Um, but in a short term, very short answer, I like Hill Cena, but I don't like how they're doing it. So
All right. I feel the same way exactly how you feel about it, and I don't want to add nothing else. I don't care what they're doing tonight. I don't care what they're doing at all. I'm done with that. Good answer. Moving on. If y'all have any other questions, feel free to you know what to do. All right. So I'm gonna go back to some of my questions or some of the questions that some people have asked, and I'm gonna continue right around Japan tour. Now, you know what this is going. Like I said the last time, like I've said before that, and like I'm going to say again, it was definitely an honor working with you. Um, I don't want to talk too much about this because I don't want this to be about me, but working with you definitely uh, forced me to step my game up. Working with a lot of y'all as JTV was more PvP online really forced me to step my game up, and I didn't know I was on my last few matches. I didn't know that. But on the way out, Japan tour. What's this? February 15, 2020. We worked in the pandemic. Um, Getting to go to Japan, work with you, a match. Even though the finish was a sabotage ending, I'm still glad and I'm still proud of it because we had to go back and forth. You gave me your best, I gave you my best. You took control of the match, I took control of the match, and we had to go back and forth. And mechanically, it was great. I'm glad that in the archives we at least have footage of me and you working together, and I'm glad that you was able to have that match. Parts of that match. And you know, you just never know. You talked about me and you. It's definitely a match that you think about. I mean, Shendon thinks about that match with me. It's a lot of people that think about that match with me. Um, I've been feeling really good with 2K25. Um, I'm definitely not going to come back. That's for sure. But I've been feeling really good, really positive. I think that um, I'm glad to have been part of the machine with y'all, and I'll leave it somewhere around there, not to continue to go off with it. But you never know. At the same time, you never know. Showdown is coming up. You just never know, Maverick. But
Mm.
good working with you. I really don't think we need to go back into that. We already talked about it in the first one, so we'll move to a different date, June 21st, 2020, Mega Rush. Now this is more important than me. Um, you, Cliff, and Recto got the opportunity to work against, um, at the time, the Treasury and Shendon. We don't have to talk about Shendon, so much, but you got to work with Dallas, you got to work with Tommy. What do you think of those boys? Working with them and them as a talent.
Um, they so I feel like getting to be in a program with them,
Mm,
it was a great time. Again, this is one of those matches that I had, and it was kind of at a time where everything's a blur. A lot was happening. We're in COVID, um, and there's some of those things you just don't remember. There's some of those things you don't see. But I do remember fighting the Treasury, and
okay.
um, I do remember going at it and being like, man, because the match was not in my favor. Um, but I remember asking myself then I asked myself, why am I still doing this? If all I do is lose, 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 why am I
Oh,
doing this?
oh, okay.
Um, but I mean, I never quit. I, you know,
Yeah.
but that
Can't.
was a day again. We're going through a lot. I had a lot of personal stuff going on. COVID's happening, and that question popped in my head. I said, why am I still in JTV? I'm not progressing. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not growing. I'm just losing. I'm constantly losing.
Right,
Um,
right.
but I think a lot of people were in each other's. I think a lot of people were in their own heads during this time because again, we're by ourselves. It's COVID. We're stuck.
Anybody would.
Online.
If they was going
Yeah,
through what you was going through, anybody would. You know.
yeah. And so there was a lot happening, and so yeah, I would say around that time, it was a hard time for me. It really was. But again, like I said, I do remember that match, and it was tough. Both of those guys, along with Shendon, phenomenal athletes, phenomenal. I never really got the opportunity to talk with them personally, really, I think I was maybe in a party with one of them at one point. I can't remember which one it was.
And,
I
and
know that.
Tommy's a free man right now. I don't know if he's a freak, you know what I mean, but he's a
Sure.
free man right now. If you catch
Yeah,
my drift.
I think it might have been Tommy that I spoke to at one point. Um, I don't know if it was Tommy or if it was Dallas. I'm trying to remember, but Tommy, yeah, he is a free man, and who knows?
Mm. Lou Wells sends you a shout out, by the way. He's cold.
Miss Luke Welsh.
Mister, not Miss.
I
He's
said
alive.
I miss Luke Welsh.
Oh, okay. Okay, you know. All right, so um I can agree with that. You know, both very, very talented. Uh I think Dallas has stepped up more. Once upon a time I had, I don't know, a vision, I guess, for Tommy. You know, I came out like last year on Next Gen and I highlighted him. I spotlighted him like one of the guys I see being one of the next top guys, you know, and it's just me hyping people up. When I see something in you, you know, I believe in you. You know, that's
Mm,
why I started doing my job with direct deposit. That's why I'm still trying to do my job with you. You know, I took a chance with Axel, who's another incredible athlete, you know. A lot of different people, man. And Tommy kind of went down a little bit and Dallas came back and stepped up. So I think Dallas is ringing bells on top of the church compared to Tommy, who's like maybe in the catacombs or some shit. But you
mm,
know, he there's opportunity for him. He wants to be around. We talk. We've been talking. He has been reaching out, which I appreciate, and he's definitely ready for the new season. There's going to be big opportunity for him real soon. And like I agree with you. Both are very, very talented, and that's not us forgetting about Shendon. You know what I mean? But I mean, we've already know everything when it comes to Shendon. You know what I mean?
mm.
So, so we can leave that right there. Um, Someone I don't want to talk about that I will talk about just because I have to. I want to make that well understood. You know, the next time I get threatening inboxes that I'm not going to reply to. Uh, you got an opportunity. I don't know if you remember this, but you got an opportunity. You know, uh, you mentioned earlier that you know you want to prove to everybody this main eventer that you are, but I've always known you to be a main eventer, and people have known you to be a main eventer. You know, there's different credentials. There's different things that happen in wrestling. Not everybody has to talk. Not everybody has to be 3 out of 3. You know, some guys get away with 2 out of 3. Some guys get away with 1 out of 3. Especially today on WWE and AEW. You know, you don't have to have much talent at all. You know, you just got to look the part, and you get pushed down everybody's throat, and you're a star because they say you are, and PG fans buy into it.
Mm.
But nonetheless, you know, I've always known you to be a main eventer. Not everybody has to be world champion. I like how Maverick said that earlier because that's how I felt about guys like Jake the Snake Roberts. A lot of talented people that just don't really need to be world champion because their charisma and talent just shines brighter alone. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And one person who was that also was New Jack. New Jack didn't have to win any title at all in wrestling. You know, his character stood on his own. So you might be one of those guys, but you want to see it, and I would also like to see you as world champion. I just think that it would be a great encapsulation on your career. And I don't say that with the intention that once you do that, your career is over. I'm just saying that, you know, it's nice to have that accolade on your resume that you were the world heavyweight champion. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think VIP smiles when he thinks of that fact that he's a former one. I think Corey Flash smiles when he looks back and goes, "Hey, you know, I was world champion." But there was one JTV world champion that never really gave a shit about this place. He was just using this place for personal gain, and work with other people to make it to where they'll do their part to try to corrupt every single last one of you and get you to turn on me and get you to sign a contract with the devil. And then when you do, you can never come back. And they never
Mm.
use you. They never do anything with you. They don't give a shit about your career. They're just there to flush you down the toilet and make sure that they look good. And they use you to make them look good.
Mm.
And one of these individuals, you got the opportunity to tie up with this person, and the both of you, shout out to the both of you, wound up creating history because you were in the first ever JTV 19 main event with Trey Jeter.
Mm.
And I hate to say that, but it's fact, So I will give him credit for that, and I will give you credit for that. He's not so important, but you are. And you got to main event. You got to create history. Moral of the story: um, you did something that nobody else has done, and is never going to be able to do, ever, ever. Not only did you main event, but you opened up JTV 19, and I can remember the first episode of JTV 19. I was there. Shendon was there. Corey Flash was there. And the reason all three of us were there is because it was like a Saturday night's main event, and we were there
Mm.
to break the show in, just to make sure that it was successful. We all three of us showed up. You were there and main evented. So, thoughts on Trey Jeter as a talent? Thoughts on the fact that you main evented? Thoughts that you opened up and main evented JTV 19 on the first day? History made. And when was this was on? Oh shit! Hold on, my system reset. Give me one moment to pull that
Don't
up.
worry, you don't have to tell me the date. I'll just get started.
Now hold on. I got it. Hold on, sweet cheeks, man.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, the
Okay.
day for that was January 24, 2021. Oh no, I'm
Okay.
lying to you. That's not it. Oh yes, it was. Yeah, January 24, 2021. Episode 1, JTV 19. You suffered by submission, and you could take it from there if you want.
All right. So yeah, no, the getting to be the first main event was a great honor. It was. I thought it was a pretty good match. Thought it could have been better. Um,
Hmm.
Now to talk about the sorry bastard Trey Jeter.
Ooh.
My thoughts on Trey Jeter. He doesn't know how to come up with his own ideas. Doesn't know how to keep a vape out of his mouth to promo. And man doesn't know how to run a company. Because simple fact is, I was supposed to be in his little company that I don't even know what the company was called, and we don't even need to discuss it because the company's run down now anyways. But the company, again, he wanted me to join. And what did he want me to do? Oh, right. He wanted me to lead a faction. He wanted me to lead a faction called the Inmates. The
Yeah.
Inmates were like the Freak Show, but he couldn't do that because it was copyright. And exactly what he said. He said, so I want you to do the same thing, just a different name and everything. And we're
What?
even going to bring in Cliff and Recto, but they're going to be different people with different names and they're going to look different. And I was like, man, this
I don't
sucks.
remember having that conversation with him about Cliff and Recto coming over for that.
You what?
I don't remember having a conversation with him about Cliff and Recto coming over. I think
It's
he lied.
right. Because you didn't. It
Okay.
was me and him.
Oh,
Because
okay.
he told me that if he told you this, you would get pissed off. And I
Okay.
said, yeah, you're right.
I
He
wouldn't.
probably would.
I wouldn't. Not over
I,
that. I mean,
well, yeah, sure. But I mean, I didn't know that. But I told him, I was like, I don't think it's
yeah,
a great idea, but sure. So he had me
yeah.
start to put together video packages and different things to post.
Okay.
And nothing happened. He kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And then finally, one day, by the grace of God and the thankfulness of you got rid of him. Thank the Lord. Nobody wanted him here anyways.
I think he got rid of
And
himself. But
well,
I
that
mean,
too. That. And now man still messages me. I don't even have him on Facebook. He messaged
Really?
me the other day to ask me how I was doing and if I would talk to him, and I said no. I mean, the simple fact of it is this
Wow.
dude is sorry and doesn't have a life. This dude needs to grow up and realize that one day he's just going to keep smoking himself away until
Mm,
he doesn't know anymore. Man is a freaking, oh my gosh, I have so many things I want to say.
wow.
This guy did not know how to, this is all you heard in his promos. He would go, man, you just, and like that's all it was. He's sitting over here vaping and blowing smoke in the camera. You couldn't even see him. You couldn't understand what he was saying because he couldn't keep the vape out of his mouth, and he almost choked on the smoke. I mean, dude doesn't know how to cut a promo. He would be like, "Man, you don't know what you're doing," and I'd be like, "Bro, man also thought he could rap and was showing off his chains. Bro couldn't rhyme half a word. I mean, I could rhyme better than that, and I'm white. So like, the simple fact of it is, I'm just saying." Dude was awful. Didn't like him as a person. Didn't like him as a talent. Glad he's out of here, and I hope he never comes back. Simply put, move on.
Oh man, he ain't coming back. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's good.
Best advice I could give him is to stay away from children. Him and his friend. Uh, and by the way, I'm not coming on here. We're not coming on here to bash anyone, like we said before. This pertains to Maverick's story. This is all it
Oh,
is.
I'm here to bash. I don't
I,
care.
you can say whatever you want. I'm saying on behalf of myself and on behalf of JTV, this is not why we're here, but this is a story, and anybody's entitled to say what they want to say, and I'm entitled to say what I want to say, and we're being honest over here, saying
I'll
how we
say
feel,
this.
what we think.
I'll say this because you said I can say anything I want. Kevin Impact feels the same way, so don't get it twisted. He feels the same way about the whole thing.
Of
Don't get it
course,
twisted. You
of
can ask him
course.
whatever.
I've said a million things for the longest time. It's just that I don't really need to go on here and really talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But of course, I feel the same way. I agree with everything that you're saying, but there's things I didn't know that you said, and there's things that, of course, it is what it is. But I think that the guy was kind of a great talent. I thought he was a friend. I thought he was a real dude. I was wrong. Sometimes that happens. You know what I mean? Um, we took care of him. We took care of his show. Took care of that organization for quite a little bit. All of them was successful while partnering with us, and in the end, greed got the better of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Guy we're talking about wants to work with someone who is desperate to be us and to be in my position and desperate to be successful in this industry. And the thing is, just because you operate or you think you're a GM and you try to run a show and you think that you're going to steal all of our talent, all this stuff, it doesn't mean anything. Because if you don't have the mind to operate it, and if you're not a good GM that knows how to really organize things, it's just not going to work. For me, some people, I'm not. Some people might say I'm pretty good at what I do. I think I'm all right. Now, I still struggle with what I have to do for JTV. It's hard. It's hard when I have to go to someone and tell them, you have to leave this show because they choose to go past the video game and want to be personal. And that relationship is now affected. And someone might think I might be trying to control them, ruin somebody's life or whatnot. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to go to Knicks. It was hard for me to go to AJ and Gorilla Cruz and a lot of the boys that I had to explain to them that if you're going to keep being involved with these people, we're going to have to part ways. Simply because I don't want us to be involved with these people at all. That doesn't make me a horrible person. Doesn't make me a bad friend. Doesn't make me fake or a Hitler or anything. I'm just trying to protect us and protect myself as well. If these people want to get personal, if y'all was in the same position I was in, dealing with them, and they was running around trying to leak all your information, your address and everything, and personal pictures, and get personal with you, it would have been the same thing. For the people not experiencing it, it's very easy to just go, "Oh, uh, J Kid or Kevin Impact is he's just hot, he's drunk on power or some shit." It's very easy to say that when you don't know the backstory, and the backstory has been manipulated, twisted several times, and this, of course, is pertaining to what the individual that we're talking about. So we're on topic. So, you know, outside of the personal things that have happened that shouldn't have happened, because he should have absolutely remained loyal to this promotion and honor our friendship, the friendship I had with him. You know what I mean? Because he didn't have a friendship with me. I'm the one that had it with him. Apparently, you know, if he didn't let people get the better of him, and if he didn't have these sick thoughts that he has, and make excuses for these monsters that he wants to try to protect online, you know what I mean, who want to bring harm to children. Past that, I think he would have went down as one of the true goats. You know what I mean? He was able to get the world title. I gave him and Chris the tag team titles. Um, Promos were not great. You know what I'm saying? He thought he was a hot promo. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm not here to bash the guy. I just think that had he just still been around, he would have had his Hall of Fame entry waiting for him. I think he would have had a lot of people's respect by this point, even people that didn't like him. You know, and I could definitely agree to some of the things you were saying about him, and can definitely support the idea that what you're saying is true. A lot of what you said, a lot of people knew. I definitely knew a lot of those things. I've known him to be that way, and just so full of himself. You know, and I think growing up is the right one. You know, he still to this day, he's still the childish mentality. You know, and in the end, ruined his friendship with Shendon and a bunch of people. It's sad to see that he ruined his friendship with you. I do respect you for coming on here and speaking your mind. I think it takes a lot of balls for you to come out like that. Um, Barry didn't want to do it. God bless him. And then in the end, he said, you know, F it. I'm going to tell the truth because, you know, and so I respect you for that. And I didn't know you would actually say that. I thought you would actually give the guy a little bit of credit. But respects to you for being honest, and you know, history made by him. That's the reason we're mentioning him. I mean, that's in history. That's forever. I'm not going to take that away from him. I would never want to destroy somebody's JTV legacy. There's been a lot of people I've had issues with, personal issues, and you know, it has to be personal because if it's game related, it's over in an hour. So anybody that I have problems with that has been in call, just know that it's personal. It has nothing to do with JTV, and it's personal on their end. You know, you have to understand. This is the last thing I'm gonna say, so I don't keep talking about this shit. You have to understand. I've said this a million times. It doesn't matter if it's online. It doesn't matter if you know somebody personal in real life. It doesn't matter if you guys know each other from a shelter you're staying in because you're homeless. I don't care what it is. You could be an Uber driver. He could be your passenger. I don't care what it is. If you are associated with someone that is bringing harm to someone else, you do not sit there and go, "It's not my problem. I'm not going to jump in. That's between them." If these are your friends, you intervene if someone is wrong. That don't mean throw your whole self into the action, but make it well understood that you're going to cut ties with someone as you should if they're doing harm to somebody else and you know about it. You know what I mean? And a lot of time I've been a victim of people just not giving a shit. A lot of people care, most people care, but there's been a few people that just they don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? They could talk about me, they could do things to me. I can't do anything because if I do anything back, I'm all these things. You know what I mean? So be careful out there, and definitely understand that if I have an issue with someone in this industry that's personal, and you friends with these people on social media, you associated with them, you want to be on their show, and your mentality is, oh, that's between you and Impact. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Then you're cancer to society because you're not helping. You know, me,
Mm.
I've had a few friends. I had to do it to them just because a friend of mine hurt another friend or somebody that I knew, and it's an instant cutoff right there. You know, somebody that I'm thinking about, as a matter of fact. I'm not going to talk about it. So moving on, because this is your episode. let's get back to you for a moment. And congratulations to you for being a recipient of being uh, one of the parties featured in the first main event of JTV 19. Let's talk about JTV 19 for a moment before I even continue, man, because that was the whole point of the conversation. It wasn't to go at anybody. You know, everything that's being talked about here is just because of your story. Um, JTV 19, because the thing is, you know how social media is, Maverick. All of y'all know how it is. Some of the things I said today, they're going to be taken out of context, twisted, and used against me. It always is. But it's the truth at the end of the day. And for anyone who's going to listen to this and go snitch, you know, that didn't watch the full video, didn't watch the full show, I just want to make that well understood worldwide so everybody knows. Okay, so with JTV 19, you're one of the first guys that helped this show come to fruition, be successful. I was worried because I didn't know what to expect from JTV 19. You know, I talked to Shendon, I talked to a lot of people, and when JTV 19 inception came, I didn't even have Chris Conscience with me. So it was a lot. It was a lot of pressure to see if the show was going to be successful. And bit by bit, through the small arena, 19 logo, great wrestling matches, great talent that came through the territory, it worked. It worked. You was a part of that. You helped with that. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on JTV 19, man, and its progress? Because it's getting ready to go on this anniversary real soon. I think it's going on. Uh,
So I think that it has been a pretty big success. Um, I look forward to seeing what all it does. Um, I look forward to being a part of it more than I have been. Um, Again, I think it has been a very successful. Um, it has been a very successful um, show that we've had in JTV. I
right,
think that excuse me. I think the way that it has been done and ran has been pretty good. I look forward to uh, seeing all the stars on there that show up. I look forward to seeing who calls out who. I look forward to seeing, the big thing about it is that anything can happen on GTV 19.
yeah,
Again, you can see titles be defended. You can see matches that we never thought we'd see before.
for
You
sure.
get to see matches on JTV 19 before you even see them on Mega Rush or on Next Gen, and that's the beauty of that.
Yeah, you're right about
Uh,
that. Very good point. I
yeah,
like
and
that.
so I think it's interesting to see. Anybody can call out anybody. I could call someone out. Someone could call me out. And I mean, it's up to you to accept it or not. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
cool thing about it. It kind of gives me a feel of, um, I'm a big fan of old TNA.
Okay.
And I remember when they used to have OFC, or OFN, which is Open Fight Night. And I
Right.
remember they used to always open up the show and they'd be like, "It's Open Fight Night," and made a big ordeal out of it. And someone would come out and they'd be like, blah 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 blah, and they would cut a big promo and then they'd say, "And I'm calling this person out," and the person would come out and they would fight. And I always thought that was a really cool thing that they did.
Same here.
Sometimes they would come out, sometimes they wouldn't, and I always thought that was a really cool idea that TNA had, and I'm glad that that's something that we have implemented.
Right.
And I really think that the possibilities are endless. Um, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see again who's going to fight who. I look forward to maybe potentially calling some people out. I look forward to see who calls out who. Um, it'll be interesting to see how it goes this year.
Hey, new logo, new era, new season. I'm looking forward to see who's going to step up on 19. Uh, that's Shenda's territory. I'm going to be working with them, and we're going to be seeing how everything unfolds, what opportunities are going to happen, and you're right, and I agree with you. 19, we got to see Keith Ocean and John Skinner go at it before you even saw it on TV. It was a giveaway. You got to see dream matches. I just remember your promo for the opening day, and you was just so hyped and full of energy and ready for that. And I think that that was something else that also helped it. And then to main event, it was just even dope. So I'm glad that you was able to accomplish that, and nobody will be able to take that away from you, and that goes with you into your Hall of Fame. So thank you for that, sir.
Yes.
Now I want to talk to you about something else real cool. We're in our second hour here, 25 minutes working into our third hour. We usually end the show around the third hour mark, usually the 7 or 8 hour mark if BKS or somebody's on here. It all depends on the topic and who's on here. But something else really cool that one of the projects that you got to be a part of, and this is before the Rage in the Cage stuff, which I shouldn't have talked about that earlier. I should have just waited a little bit to go back into it. But I guess now we could scratch that because that was coming up next. So, but before we got to do the Rage in the Cage stuff with Shendon and the whole Jelly Roll, Dead Man Walking thing, September 4th, 2021, we was able to put together one of the most unique matches that we've ever had in JTV. And I don't know if it was a terror house, a doom house, or whatnot, but uh, we got the opportunity for you to fight Marcus in his house. A house, obviously, that has brought some terror to Marcus. He was definitely petrified to be there. And when he entered, you decided to attack him and assault him. And it was one of the most unique things that we've ever done. A lot happened. Skull Brotherhood did get involved a little bit, which was interesting. You're out here saying that you would work with them. Makes me think. But there was a lot of different things that went on with that, and Marcus had to fight his way through that, and eventually it ends not just with you taking him out, but you destroy the damn book, the very book that was being used to torment Marcus by the Skull Brotherhood. So I want to talk to you about that a little bit, man. You know what I mean? It was a good program that you had with Marcus, and that was New Dawn. You know, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on all that, Maverick? You got a few answers. You got a few questions to answer right there.
So, give me some specifics.
I mean, I gave you specifics, man. You know what I'm saying? Are you proud that you attacked Marcus at his house? You know what I mean? It's never been seen before in JTV. You guys are fighting inside of a house, using different things against each other. You know what I mean? You made it your mission after the white boy left and everything that had went on that led to this point. After meeting Shendon and meeting the treasury, all this shit that's going on, dealing with Mr. Amazing at Ultimate Showdown, you now are meeting Marcus, which you knew him from Next Gen. It's just that y'all never really had the opportunity to work like that, but you knew him since 2016. It's just y'all never crossed paths on TV. And now it's your playtime that you want to ruin Marcus's life. We're not going to lose focus about it. You know what I mean? You was trying to torture this man. You was having your fun, and yet you came on this show. Look, Marcus is watching right now, as a matter of fact. You came on this show and you talked about that Freak Show is here to help. Freak Show is not here to do anything bad. I keep reading you, man. You talking to Kevin Impact. You know what I mean? I'm listening to what you're saying. I listen to people. I study people. This is my shit. Okay. And you was on here talking about that you're trying to help JTV, but you're open to working with the Skull Brotherhood. That shit don't make no sense. And furthermore, we've seen your track record. You destroyed the JTV World Heavyweight Championship title belt. You align with all kinds of people from left to right. You've always been a rebel, a reckless rebel, a renegade, a blue blood thoroughbred for the longest time. And you know what I'm saying? Like, on top of the fact that you, after that, went to go torturing Shendon, which I'm sure nobody on the roster minds, but to mess
Well,
with, yeah, go ahead.
okay. Yeah, let me stop you. Let me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Say what you got
Here
to say. I want to
here's what
know.
I'll say. Oh, okay. I'm gonna tell you. So I've told you that the things I've done in the past, I'm not proud of. I'm not. Attacking Marcus, was it a great idea? No. But
In
let
his
me ask you
in
something.
a dark home, like you were trying
Yeah,
to murder this man. That wasn't
yes,
even a
but let me
match.
ask you something. But so you're saying that I've said that I'm trying to save JTV, that I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. Yes, you're right. I'm trying to save JTV from something that was created by you. Something that was created by you, something that was created for people that you recruited.
Really.
So, but they beat you down. I bet that you are not proud of what you did. Just like I'm not proud of what I did. So, again, it's not a whole thing of, you know, what I did in the past. Again, am I proud that I did that? No, I'm not. Am I proud of the program? Absolutely. I think it created great television for JTV. I think it created great storytelling for JTV. It created a good story for myself and Marcus. Now, again, would I work with the Brotherhood right now? Everybody keeps asking that. You just said it again. My words are twisted from what I said earlier. I said, as of this moment, now and in the near future, the answer is no. The answer is no. I would not work with them. But again, it's like I said earlier. If I needed to get what I wanted, and what I want right now is for BKS to be out of here, then it's a maybe. But the fact of it is I'm not going to need to, because of the plans that I have for the Freak Show. I'm not going to need them. I'm not going to need their help because of the plans that I have for the Freak Show, the plans that I have for Colin and Jazz. I'm not going to need that. But again, back to the matter at hand, Marcus is a great competitor. Might be one of the best in JTV. But what needed to happen happened. Again, I do apologize to Marcus for what I did, and I hope that he can understand that at that point I was just a different person.
Mm.
Now I'm a completely different person
With the intention to save JTV from the dark
with the
force.
intention. Exactly. Because again, at one point I had those dark forces. I
Right.
had, I had this book. I was
Yeah.
going into torture rooms and torturing people like Shinden. I was torturing people like Marcus, you know, but I don't do that right now, right? I mean, I'm a completely different person. I mean, you saw on Mega Rush, I had to hit rock bottom. And I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point here
I
soon.
mean,
You know, I
you did seem like you destroyed the book to save Marcus, or did you?
wait, what did you say?
It seemed like you destroyed the book to save Marcus.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, everything in JTV happens for a reason. I was not there to hurt Mark. I was there to save Mark. But some things had to happen along the way. The book is gone, the book is destroyed. It's no longer. It's done. Just like that side of Maverick. That
Really?
side of Maverick is gone until he has to come back out. And who knows, he might have to come back out to go against BKS, to go against Shinden. Who knows? But if
Mm.
that side of Maverick does have to come out, it's for the greater good of JTV. It's not for the greater good of Maverick. It's not for the greater good of. It's not the greater good of the Freak Show. It's for the greater good of JTV. And I see everybody in the comments saying lies, lies, lies. But if you're going to sit here and tell me that Shinden is saving JTV and BKS is saving JTV, then you've got another thing coming. You've got another thing to look at, because I know it's going to take some time for me to truly show who I am now, but I'll get there. I will prove myself to those who doubt me. I will prove myself to those who I've wronged. So again, I can't do it alone though. So I'm going to need that help. And I'm going to need people to trust me. And I know, again, it's going to be hard for people to trust me, especially someone like Marcus. But I seriously think that he is a great competitor. I think he's a great person. And I look forward to working with him in the future in some capacity. And I guess we'll see what capacity that is.
Yeah, I guess we will. Interesting. We got 15 people tuning in. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Thank y'all for being a part of this spectacle, only known as the City of Impact. This is
Hang
episode
on,
13.
let me answer this right here. Trust is a steep word. You're right. But I am going to be out here doing what I can, doing what I must to get that word to mean something. It's not just a word that I'm going to let fly by and let go and let it, just hang around. I'm going to make it mean something, and I'm going to show you. So, and Mark, that's fine. You don't have to believe me at this very moment. You don't. But again, I'm just doing what I feel is right. And I know, again, that it's going to take me some time to show you guys that you can trust me, whether that means that I have to go to war or whatever it means. I'm going to prove that to you in some form or fashion. So,
All right.
and it's up to those haters, it's up to those people who don't trust me to go to war with me or to go against me. And if you go against me, you're not going against me. You're not going against, the freak show. You're going against JTV. After this war is all said and done, if you want to hate me again, that's fine. But I'm going to need support. The freak show is going to need support. And that's why we're looking for new members. That's why we're bringing in new members. That's why we got plans. That's why JTV isn't ready for what's about to happen. And it's not because, JTV is, in a bad spot, because they are with BKS. But they're not ready for the change that's about to happen when BKS fully takes over. And they're already on the move. Now it's time to stop it before it gets worse. So.
Yeah, what you said was so cold. I had to put my coat on, man. But let's keep moving it along here. So, um, that was a match we put together. Showdown. That last showdown in Soldier Field, August 29th, 2023. We get the extra match, and I'm on the way out. I just had my match with Mr. Amazing. It's my last professional wrestling match in the ring, 1v1. And on the way out, I wanted to do the favors. We wanted to do something crazy. It was almost like a showdown gem. And I talked to Keith Ocean, I talked to you, a couple people, and we started putting together this unique match. Cash in the Case was born. You made history once again, competing in this match, win, lose, or draw. You had the opportunity to work with me at a showdown. You got the opportunity to work with John Skinner, PJ Storm was there. Keith Ocean was there. Dan Rapture was there. And we put together this match, cash in the case, briefcase above the ring. It was one of the craziest things we did. Just no build of any kind, nothing. Just surprise. Here it is. My music played. I come back out. I'm going to the ring and I'm working with y'all. I got the opportunity to work with a lot of y'all in that match. It was a good feeling for me to do the honors on the way out. I got stiffed up a little bit by Dan Rapture, which I didn't appreciate. I think he was just in the moment, and but I got the opportunity to body slam a lot of y'all, hit some of you bastards with the atomic drop, and got to throw throw some hands with you a little bit, throw hands with Skinner a little bit, not a lot, and historic, no doubt about it. And to do an Ultimate Showdown was a major thing. You got to work with me again. You got to work with all these talented people in the ring. You got to do it at an Ultimate Showdown. Um, Thoughts on that? Showdown
Yeah,
5.
so making history again. Getting to that match and talking with you about what that match really meant and what it looked like. Um, I didn't know the expectations at first. I mean, obviously, I knew it was going to be a ladder match. I knew that it was going to involve a bunch of different people. And it was, of course, an out of nowhere type deal that we got to do. I thought it was a really cool opportunity for me to work with, work with you again at a showdown, like you just stated, getting to work with Dan, getting to work with of course, the eventual winner, John, getting to work with all these people and all these talent. It was a fun match. It was a lot of fun. It was unique. First time that we got to do something like this at Ultimate Showdown. First time that in my lifetime or in my time in JTV at least that we got to do something like this. I thought the talent in the match couldn't have been any better. I thought the way it was done couldn't have been any better. I think the stage it was on was the best place for it to happen. I think it would be cool for it to maybe, make its return as maybe a standalone event. I don't know if that's maybe something you've thought about of it being built around that match, but having, of course, other matches, so making it its own little event. I think that would be kind of cool to see. Or if you're, going to keep it at Ultimate Showdown, I think it's something that we need to keep going
Yeah.
and keep seeing go. I thought that, of course, the eventual winner was not in my favor. I was really looking forward to potentially winning. I thought this was the moment that I had, and I thought this was the time that I had, and I thought this was the moment where I actually got to finally say, "Hey, I've I've done it. This is my opportunity, and this is where I cash in that moment that I have been looking for and looking to get that." And then it didn't happen. Um, Getting to make history though still, and of course getting to share the ring with you and everyone else made up for it. I thought that again for a match, one of a kind at Ultimate Showdown with the talent, I thought it made up for the loss. Getting to be in the ring with everybody was a great time, and I do look forward to it returning at some point, whether I'm in the match or not. But whoever may be the next the next case winner, will be interesting to see if it does make a return.
And by the way, that's two showdown rings. Two showdown rings for you right there. So that's pretty dope. Not a lot of people can say they've competed at showdown. So we're trying to work on it, trying to be more active with showdown so that people can say that, But for those of you that have had that taste of Ultimate Showdown, I mean, I would imagine it's just nothing like it, you know. this showdown coming up, and there's even pressure on me. You know what I mean? And like I'm sure about my decision, but at the same time, it's like you think about it. You know what I mean? You never want to miss out on the showdown. You know, so um, I'm proud of you for accomplishing that, doing that, and I'm happy to have been a part of that. Uh, Continuing, I got just a few more questions left as we get ready to close the show out, or things that I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about a match that was brought up before. Now we could talk about it in depth. Match we mentioned before was the October 28th, 2023 Pumpkin Night match you had with Colin Klein. It was in the Garden, I believe, at the time, but I remember it being in New York. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it
No,
was
you're
just
right.
the arena was the way we did the arena is it's like we had two entrances. We had one by ringside, and we had curtains to the left side of the screen where
Hmm.
people could come out through that curtain. So you can some people were coming out through the curtain. Like when Mark came out and he had that motorcycle, he drove into the arena from the curtain side and drove to the ring with the belt. And Dan Rapture, he came out from the ringside one, and Conville Wolf came out from the ringside entrance with a steel chair, which was dope. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, which yeah, man, Sophia really was running with that because she's someone of the few who really made the steel chair famous. You know, when she hit Colin in the back with the damn steel chair during the pandemic and aligned herself with Corey Flash. You know, so you getting to work this match at this venue, you getting to work this match with somebody as talented as Colin Klein, who was the hardcore champion at the time, still is, and eventually leads to you recruiting him just out of nowhere. Do you think that maybe you earning his respect in that match had anything to do with him coming to the freak show? And what are your thoughts on that match? And what are your thoughts on Colin as a talent?
I think it had a potential impact on him being a part of the freak show. Um, I think it had a potential. I think that Colin and I had already had a respect for one another from the conversations that him and I had had, in one on ones and in others. Um, I personally, um, I personally enjoy Colin. I love having him as a friend. I love having him in parties and getting to talk with him. And I feel like him and I have a relationship that, we're kind of there for one another. And I think that had a big part in it also. I think that had a part in him coming to the freak show because of that. Because it was one of those, I have his back, he has my back. If he's in a situation, I try to talk to him and I try to calm him down about it. And, I've loved the conversations that him and I have had because I care about him as a person and as a friend and as somebody that I get to do this with. As a talent, I think he is still all the things that I just said, but in the ring. I think he is a phenomenal talent. Um, he has earned every little bit of things that he has. Um, Colin, Colin is one of those kind of special guys that you find and you get to have times with. And what I mean times is like memories. Um, Colin, I have many memories of him and I talking and having conversations that mean more than this, and that
Mm,
have helped us both in life, that have helped us both in our daily lives. And I hope that the words that I have said to him mean a lot.
that's nice.
Um, so, but yeah, I've done everything that I think of to help him, and I hope that I can continue doing that and being a voice and a light there for him. But again, as far as the talent goes, I think that does have parts to do with why he joined the freak show. Um, I don't think it was all I don't think it was all the match itself that did it, but I think it's the relationship that we have together, and I think it's the things that we've done for one another that's got him there.
Mm, well said. Excellent.
And I'll say this too, because Mark just said Colin's holding himself back. I don't think so. I think that that's an opinion that you have. I think that's an opinion that you have on Colin. Just like you think he doesn't need to be in the freak show, just like you think he needs to leave. I don't think so. I think that Colin is Colin, and I think he's doing a great job of what he's doing. I don't think Colin is holding himself back. I think Colin is being Colin, and he's proving it by going out there and winning. He's going out there and he's just doing his thing. And that's what I like about Colin. Colin doesn't think he's doing too much. He doesn't think he's doing too little. He's doing the right amount of what he thinks of what he needs to do. I don't think Colin's holding himself back. And if he is holding himself back, then I look forward to seeing what he can do when him and I go to battle with together against whoever it might be. Again, Colin isn't that guy that you want to mess with. Colin is not holding himself back. If anything, he's bringing himself up. He's calling himself up. He wants to be better. He wants to do better. He doesn't need to get better because he is good. I mean, obviously everyone can get better, but Colin is one of those that you want to learn from, that you want to be around. So he's not holding himself back. He's just getting better as he goes.
Man, if you really think about it, Mark, he's in the freak show and he's been one of the longest reigning hardcore champions in the history of the damn promotion. So he's not really being held back. I think he's being successful still.
And
You know,
again, I know that him and Jas and Mark, for some reason, he doesn't even have a hand in the fight, but I know that they're worried about the freak show. I completely understand where they're coming from.
you're like
We're
a parent.
building this thing together.
You're
What'd
like
you
a
say?
father. You got to take care of your kids. You're like a father, man.
It's true. We're building this thing up together. It's not just a me thing. This is our group just as much as it's mine. I'm just the leader, and I'm not even fully leading it because it's our faction. It's our group. It's our family. So, again, Mark can say what he wants to say. He can say that the freak show is dying. He can say that the freak show is holding Joss back and it's holding Colin back. But that's just not it. Because if that's the case, then where's the Skull Brotherhood? That's all I got to say.
Well, if that's all you have to say, I like the fact that Mark is talking shit at a time where it just so happens that he's a part of our next topic because I want to talk to you about another date. I want to talk to you about your recent Japan tour that you did for JTV, November 4th, 2023, uh, in which you suffered a horrific loss to Mark. Now, the World Television Championship was on the line. That had been a title shot. You had one title shot that you have not had in a long time. You haven't had a title shot in JTV in quite a while. You got that opportunity to work with him in Japan, and he had bragging rights on that night. Any response to that? Any pressure? Um, and it's taking you some time to work back up to getting that title shot, any title shot of any kind in JTV. This is where you and Mark get to have y'all fun. Go ahead, the mic's all yours.
Yeah, I think this match is where I broke. I think this is the match where I realized something is not working. And I started to reinvent myself and I started to change some things and of course I had my meltdown and everything. But I always have told myself after that match that I'll see Mark again. Um
Hmm.
And that's just the case it is. I will see Mark again. Where? I couldn't tell you. Um, but I know it's coming. And I know I will see him again down the road. But right now, he's not even in my focus. Um, I wish the match was a different story, but I think, again, I've lost many times. I've lost count. But the thing that I know the most is I think if that match wouldn't have happened, if that match, I think if that match would have went in my favor, then I wouldn't have gotten the brokenness that I needed to rebuild myself and notice the issue and the problem. Because again, that was my first title match in a very long time. So getting that loss made something click and made me say, what am I doing? What is wrong with me? And then the rest is history.
Hmm. Well, speaking of history,
Mark, I think the only thing that was missing was my boot down your throat, and the next time it will be.
holy shit. We'll wait on that response, Mark. In the meantime, uh, December 23rd, 2023, Mega Rush 131. I remember it well because it was in Vegas and it was a very important Mega Rush for me. Big steel cage match. You mentioned Corey Flash earlier. You got the tag team with the All Star Kid, and you guys was able to take it to BKS, big win. Um, Skinner VIP, and I think it's safe to say this is a victory that you needed for a while, and I don't know if you're convincing him, but I mean I think it's safe to say that you're still trying to convince the All Star Kid Corey Flash to pretty much join the freak show and help you take down BKS. No.
Oh yeah, um, that ship has not left yet, and I'm not giving up. Um, I want Corey Flash in the freak show, and this is another one of those. I'll do what it takes. I'll do what I must to get Corey Flash in the freak show. And I don't know what it might be. I don't know what I need to do, but I think I've already shown him that we work as a good team with the victory that we got. And so, it's still extended. I've been calling him. He hasn't been answering me. I've left him some text messages, I've left him some voicemails. He hasn't answered me. I think he may have blocked my number. I don't really know. But I've got this feeling that the All Star Kid might show up when it matters the most. Now, whether he does or not, I don't know. Whether I got to tie him up and put some duct tape on his mouth and bring him myself, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, I'm not done trying to get the All Star Kid on my team. And it's not because I need him. Well, let me rephrase. Corey is one of those dream matches. Corey is one of those that I myself have always wanted to go one on one with. The thing about it is, he's also somebody that I've always wanted to be friends with. So this is the time that it can happen. So it's not I want him in the freak show. The more that I've thought about it, I need him in the freak show. I need him to be a part of this team
Mm.
because him and I have a lot in common when it comes to the freak show. Or not to the freak show, but to BKS, because when it comes to BKS, they did something to him and they've done something to the company that I love. And so they've also done something to my childhood hero Corey Flash as well. And so I kind of have to I kind of have to have him on my team. And so, Corey, if you're listening, the All Star kid, if you're listening, this is my plea to you. Think about it. Please keep thinking about it. Even if you're on your way to Saturday night's main event, think about it. I don't want you, I need you to be a part of the freak show. I need you to be a part of this team because JTV needs you. We need to be the ones to stop BKS. I need you if we were ever to go to war. I need you on this team because you're one of the people I know that I can trust. You're one of the people that I know that Colin would be able to trust. You're one of the people that I know Joss would be able to trust, and whoever else we may bring on this team and in this faction. You are the one that I know we could trust because you embody JTV wrestling. So
Mm.
it is extended. I'm rolling out the red carpet for you. Walk up it. Don't walk up it. But this is a plea to you. Please come join the freak show. Mark, you can say whatever you want, but your team ain't even showing up anywhere. So go lose your title, all right? But
Mm.
anyways, what I was trying to say was,
Mm.
again, what I'm saying is Corey, Mark, and you know what? Hold up for a second. Mark, just because Corey, Corey may not be a clown, but you sure are because you're trying to put your business in everybody else's, and you're not even your name's not even being brought up. So, anyways,
And the disrespect that he would insinuate that you guys are clowns.
yeah, I know. You know what? No, we gonna stop this for a second. We gonna stop this for a second. All right. Here's the thing. Everybody thinks we're clowns. Everybody thinks that we're just a bunch of clowns. Everybody thinks that Colin's a clown, Joss is a clown, I'm a clown. No, we are not clowns. We are a family who is looking out for JTV. Do we have face paint? Sure, because it adds character. It adds that sense of we are we are people who kind of look like outsiders, to be honest to you. We're people who
Rebels
seem
in
overlooked.
society. Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily a we're clowns. Now, the old group, sure, they were clowns. I mean, dude had yellow and green hair. So, yeah, I mean, of course they were clowns. But we are not clowns. We are a group who wants to help JTV, wants to help one another. We're not here to take over JTV. We're here to help JTV. Now, the old freak show, sure, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to ruin JTV. They wanted to open all these spells and destroy JTV. That's not what it is. I have turned a new leaf. I even have Jay. You're never gonna believe this. I have a charcuterie board in in Colin's locker room just for him, and it's because I'm just a nice person and because I know how much he likes cheese. So that's all I got to say. So the only clowns that are here anymore is BKS. That's all I got to say, and that Skull Brotherhood team. I don't know, but I mean they're not showing up anyways. But that's all I got to say.
Mm. Call them a team. Um, well, I mean, the last thing I really have for you is um, the last time we really saw Maverick before this whole podcast program was put together. Uh, September 21st, 2024, JTV 19, episode 16, with an emphatic return. I mean, it's not like you haven't done interesting things along the way. I love that little thing you did with Russ Walker backstage and Axel when you was trying to recruit him a while back, and he said something about breaking your face or whatever in Italian. I thought that was dope. Russ Walker is one of the most charismatic guys of all time. Axel is a big deal, man. I think this guy is. I do think he's the future of JTV. I think he's going to accomplish things if he could train real well, not spam, and really get intuition with his character. But you shocked the entire planet when you rolled back the hands of time at episode 16 because the way it happened, not only was it symbolic of the rage in the cage, but you know, Lights go out. Dallas Goldman is on the ground and he's got a bunny mask on. You know what I'm saying? And it was an emphatic message that you sent to BKS. No doubt about that. But you didn't even reveal you didn't even show your face. You popped up, you teased, you've been teasing, you've been wanting Corey Flash. You have a whole new season of JTV. JTV 19 is coming back, new look, and we got Mega Rush, we've got Chemical Warfare, we've got Showdown. The possibilities are endless. I would ask you about that, Maverick, but I know you're not going to tell me. You're cooking something interesting, and I'm on board for it. We're going to see what's going to happen. As we get ready to close the show out, if we can do that, I might spin this a different way and see how far we take this, and then we get ready to close the show out. You know, it's a different thing. Um, Obviously, outside of, I think this would be a good thing to talk about. And for those who are not a fan of this topic, now might be the right time to leave. But outside of this, you do have faith. You have a lot of faith outside of this, you know. And I like to be positive here on this channel. I like to be positive, to reach out to people, see, we can help somebody along the way who's down. Why not? Right? That's just how I work. Um, and I think that no, Jody Kidd has some issues with some people on this roster. I'm not going to say who. Um, he goes by Damian Cross for those who know him, his stage name. And me and him have had, I guess, in his mind, arguments. I can't say I've argued with him because, like, me and him don't have any issues. The times we have come out arguing is just him being upset over something. I don't know what, you know, and it was minor. But I've talked to somebody who has an issue with him because he sided with certain people who, they're just not really great human beings. And the point I'm trying to make is that anytime we've had issues, he still reached out to me, talked to me nicely in my inbox, sent me messages to check up on me, same as Malcolm Berry and is my mic on? Oh, it is on.
Yeah,
Oh,
we can hear you.
okay. Give me one moment. Yeah, I got your message. I think we could kind of hold off on that for now. And wait until we get back to the show. When we get back to the show, we'll take care of some more business. But for now, we're not going to talk nothing about that for sure yet. Okay. So, but my point of what I'm trying to make is that Jody Kidd has been religious, very religious. He's retained his faith for the longest time, and I know you are as well. And for those of you guys, like I said, that are not into this, don't like this is the part where you could just exit the building, But I think the way I would like to end it on this note would be to really speak to and speak about um, some of Maverick's faith. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people out there right now that are going through a lot. Um, they're lost, they're confused, they're misled, they're all kinds of things. So the point I'm trying to make is that I've seen you talk. I know what a smart guy you are outside of wrestling, and when I say that, I mean educated on the world, educated on a lot of things. I think that you have your faith, and on this channel, I don't really try to control anybody's faith or nothing like that. I like for people to have their beliefs and all that kind of stuff. Everybody has their own thoughts. I would like to send everybody home with, I guess, an inspirational message, if possible, of some kind. Whether you believe, this is us ending this on a good note and doing something different that we don't normally do on this show, especially with you because you're the right guy for it. Um, your beliefs keep you together, huh, Maverick? Outside of the character.
What is it? Sorry, you're cutting out really bad.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm asking just your beliefs keep you together in life.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I would say. Yeah, I definitely think they do.
And obviously you found this when you was young and you stayed true to it ever since. And you still stay true to it. Um any message that you might have for somebody out there that's going through some shit right now?
Um, so what I would say to those out there that might be going through stuff because life is tough, and this is the thing that I like to say to people. Um, Life has always been tough. Um, it just gets harder when you get older. You start realizing the bills, you start realizing um, the heartbreak that life brings. But the one thing that not a lot of people, like to discuss or talk about is religion. They don't like to talk about their faith. They don't like to talk about, but I have been through a lot of things in my life. Again, that I've had to step away from JTV because of personal things. We, um, that I have struggled a lot. For those that don't know, I will kind of just tell you kind of what's been going on throughout my life because I don't care to, because I'm here to be a light to people, and so sharing my story doesn't really bother me. Um, but I don't really talk to my dad. I haven't talked to my dad in about 5 years. Um, I still have my mom. I talk to my mom. I have other family members, but I haven't talked to my dad in quite a while. Um, and the thing that got me through that the most is God. Being a Christian has changed my life. Being a firm believer that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. I fully believe that, and I fully trust in that. Um, and my message to you, if you're going through it and you're going through a hard time, you know the question that I would ask you, or not the question, but the thing I would tell you is that you don't have to do it alone. Obviously you have a community here that wants to help you through that, but you can trust in Jesus. And the reason why I have been able to get through so much, and the reason why I have been able to do so much in life is because of Jesus. There have been so many bad things happen in my life that I've questioned, what am I doing in life? What is my purpose in life? And the thing that I've got is that God has a purpose for me no matter what. God has a purpose for me when the things turn bad. You know, God has a purpose for me when the clouds go dark. God has blessed me with an amazing person in my life. God has blessed me with a lot of great friends and great community. Um, I God has done a lot for me, and I really do believe that God can do that for you. going through all the hard times, the hardships, the tribulations, going through everything that has happened in my life. Um, it's been tough. Um, so my words to you would be trust in God. If you don't believe in him, believe in him. Turn your life to him. And I have told Jay this before. I'll tell you this. You know, I will talk with you. I will be there for you. You can ask Colin. We have had multiple conversations, not about this, but just things that have been going on in his life, things that have been going on in his future with different things. And I feel like I have been a light to him, and that's not because I get that glory. I think God gets that glory. And so if you're in need to talk, or you need to talk to somebody, or you need help with something, come talk to me. I mean, I don't mind to talk to you at all. I have been through a lot. I had to take 2 years off of school. I struggled in life. And so all I want to do is help you and be a light to you. So if that's you, come talk to me. I don't care to talk to you for hours and hours and hours. As long as I'm free, I'm there. I like to jump into parties, and sometimes we'll just start randomly talking about things. Colin came to me one day, we were talking, and out of nowhere he just talked to me about just random stuff. And we sat there and had a whole hour and a half conversation. So if that's you and you need to have that conversation, come talk to me. But I fully 100% believe that if you don't have Jesus in your life, it will change your life, because again, he was sent to die on the cross for our sins, and we are forgiven of all of them. And so if that's you, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to talk to me, and I don't care to talk to you. So
Maybe we need to have like a whole episode dedicated to this topic. There is definitely things I want to explore within this. And if y'all feel the same way, definitely let me know. Not in these comments, I guess. Obviously, after the show closes, you could drop your thoughts in on the video comments. But I definitely want to explore a lot of this. I was going to say a few things. I was going to ask you about a few things, but I don't want to run this too long neither. So I'll probably save it for a future episode. Since I'm not going to explore that area, I think that the right thing to do is just get ready to close this thing out. This has been a great show, great episode, great act two, and now your final act. I would like to thank everyone who's tuned in, who's still tuning in. I'd like to thank my guest at this time, Maverick, for being a part of this show, and you're definitely invited back anytime you want for a future episode. Maybe our episode will be talking about religion. There's definitely a lot to explore that I want to talk to. Um, Definitely got to have Shendon on here, bring you on, bring No Kills on, step by step. But I want to make it well understood that for our next episode, episode 14, it's nice to talk about the future, isn't it? For episode 14, as I'm thanking my guest tonight, Maverick, uh, my next guest on episode 14 of the City of Impact is going to be none other than Mr. Skull Brotherhood himself, Burke Lawson. Will be here live with us. We will talk to him about his career. We will talk to him about the Skull Brotherhood, and we will talk to him about other things that certain people might not want us to talk about. We're going to discuss his career. He's going to give his side, his accounts on controversy that's happened with him that saw his exit out of JTV and whatnot, as well as some of his great matches in his career and his great moments. I am looking forward to that one. I sincerely hope all of you boys and girls are as well. And that one will be on June 7th. So June 7th, I'm back with the City of Impact and Burke Lawson, and we're gonna get down with it. And he might bring a couple of people too with him on the show. So stay tuned for that. Um, and I mean, somewhere around here is where it closes out. You know what I mean? Definitely want to have you come back, Maverick, like I said, and I want to thank you for being on the show, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. Do have one more thing left to say before, I know we just ended on like a wholesome note. Uh, but one more thing I'd like to say to those listening, to the haters, to BKS, to those who are against JTV, my question to you is, do you hear me now?
Emotional damage.
Oh, that was outstanding, Maverick. Great message. And with that being said, folks, we thank you for coming to the city. But now it's time for you to get the hell on to get the hell up out of here. So thank y'all for tuning in. Be easy. God bless you and y'all family. And until the next time, good fight, good night.